Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am... I'm a bitch. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How are we doing today, guys? I feel fantastic. Oh, I feel great. That's a lie, in case this is ever transcripted. Oh my God. So, hey, how are you? I've been better. Let's get some things out of the way real quick. Yes, I was involved in a automobile collision just the other day. What was that, Monday? I don't remember. Tuesday? Let's see. I think it was Monday. Sunday? Fuck. I legitimately don't remember which day it was. I think it was Monday. And don't hold me to that. And let's get something very clear real quick without getting into any details. It was entirely the other person's fault. And, I'm hoping for a nice, swift, and amicable resolution on everything at some point. I'm not going to talk about any injuries sustained or anything like that. I'll just say this. Everyone in my car was admitted to the hospital. Everyone in my car was released from the hospital. So happy to share a little bit more about it when everything's done. But for now, I have to be just circumspect about it the way these things go. So that being said, hey, you do look like you got rear-ended bad. Facts. So anyway, so I don't, I just want to put that up front because I'm not going to, I'm a lawyer. Still suspended. Don't worry. State of Minnesota. I'm not trying to solicit business. I am a suspended lawyer, and you just need to let things play out the way they're going to play out. You don't talk about shit like this until it's done. And once it's done, I'm happy to fill in the blanks. All right. But people have asked like various things like how did you survive, etc. Even though they don't know the details too much, I don't think. And I'll simply say, by the grace of God, we had a lot of protection over us, and I'm happy that everybody's still breathing, because things could have been really, really, really different. And so soldier onward we do. Here I am trying to live my life in abject misery, laying in bed going, ow, my lungs and rest of my body hurt. Okay. And Turtle Boy and Karen Reed have to go and drop the juiciest shit ever all over the fucking Canton PD. Oh boy. Wartooth says, talk about Styx, Hex, and Hammer. I can't. I don't know shit about it. I don't even know the status of his case, and that's fine. Whatever's up with Styx, I just hope everything goes the way it should. Tane Smear says, why I drive a Subaru is safety. I know it makes me a butch lesbian man. And thank God we were in our 12-passenger van, which is a very big, very sturdy vehicle. and with a big V8 in the front and a lot of steel between you and anything else. So that was, I said, things could have been very, very different. Could have been very, very different. Laser Thoth says, don't text and drive, kids. No one was texting and driving. In our car, no one was texting at all. I don't know about the operator of the other vehicle. So, but I know that's in the rumor mill. And again, I'm not going to talk about it or address anything. People on the internet will say whatever the people on the internet will say. And one amazing thing you learn when you do online stuff long enough is that people will say what they're going to say, and what they say doesn't make a thing so. That's the best I can describe it. But, you know, there's no reason to sit around and try and argue with everybody, because you're not going to win the argument with a fantasy. If you could, I would have won my arguments with Kate Upton all the time, but she always wins. So that said, lots of fun being in a collision. Other than that, how are you guys? What's going on? I think we're going to get into these Michael Proctor texts, and we're going to talk about what's been going on in the Karen Reed Turtle Boy defamation lawsuits. There have been some crazy updates that I've been wanting to cover, but haven't really felt like doing any of it for obvious reasons. I would think it's obvious. But what do we got? Let me pull these up. So we've got a couple things happening at the same time. We have a couple different things. First, we have 87 page complaint, and they have I already see eat a black dick. They have basically the opening line of your next Christmas ornament text messages. I think we should do it. I think we should make Christmas ornaments that are just the Proctor and Good texts back and forth. I'm of a different opinion than everybody else. Everybody I'm out there. Everybody I've seen out there is talking about horrific and terrible these texts are. They're racist, they're sexist, they're bigoted. I think they're fucking based. I think they're awesome. We're going to pick out our favorite text messages. I encourage you guys to send in your favorites, the real hits, the winners. And so I can't believe anybody's mad about these at all. This is great. These text messages ripped right out of my phone. So I can't wait to go through those. Basically what we've got though are a couple different actions happening. There's a defamation suit against Turtle Boy and Karen Reed. They have filed an anti-slap motion to dismiss in both of these cases. That is the right play. It's the right move. I told you it was coming. I'm always good at seeing when things are coming. I'm always good at that. So that was the anti-slap was the right move under Massachusetts law. Massachusetts has a weird anti-slap. It's allegedly, it's allegedly limited to the right to petition. One of the problems that these dummies have is that they are fucking cops and an ATF agent. And so suddenly what might be limited to private citizens or limited availability to private citizens in a defamation action has a whole different character when it involves some law enforcement agents. That's a problem, and it makes the anti-SLAPP in now. To be clear, there's some language in the Massachusetts anti-SLAPP and language from the Massachusetts Supreme Court that makes it a little bit more expansive than it's written. And so, to be clear, you don't have to be exercising the right of petition in the way that you think. And that's the big problem that they've got, is that the right of petition is kind of at the heart of this. I mean, this is about a matter of extreme public concern, right? Like this is the alleged execution and cover up of a murder and frame job by some Canton government employees and their families. So there's that. And now we've got government agents involved. We've got potentially this corruption going all the way up the chain to various parts of the Canton city government, maybe even into state government. Who knows? Who knows how high? Maybe the president's on there like, yeah, Proctor, she does have a leaky knot. I have seen it. Who knows? But we've got it. So that the defamation action against them has been anti-SLAPPed. Now, another anti-SLAPP has been filed in a federal defamation action against, this time by the other side. They've got a whole different approach. So Turtle Boy and Karen Reed have filed a defamation action in federal court, and the House defendants, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they have filed an anti-SLAPP in federal court, attempting to apply the Massachusetts anti-SLAPP through the federal circuit. And Turtle Boy and Karen Reed have both opposed that, opposing the application of the Massachusetts anti-SLAPP via federal law. Now, some circuits have adopted the anti-SLAPP law statutes of the states in their circuit. Other ones have not done so, have refused to apply them. And so we've got an issue there. I'm not aware of where the circuit stands that Massachusetts is in, but maybe we'll check into that. So we've got that going on as well. That's another suit. Now, on top of that, today was filed a lawsuit on behalf of Karen Reed, and that's where these Michael Proctor texts come in. And the lawsuit is against the Canton Police Department, and it is being brought by powerhouses, Alan Jackson and some others. Hold on, let me get their names so I get them right. In brackets, referring to his then girlfriend's anus. Ah, so good. Oh my God. So this is, we've got, I apologize for all of the, well, for the jokes here. Sheehan, Finney, Bass, and Green, attorneys. So this is Damon Seligson. He is, it looks like he's the lead local counsel, along with Charles Walters, Aaron Rosenberg. They have the power. And Sheehan, So Damon Seligson, Charles Waters, and Aaron Rosenberg, along with Alan Jackson, Caleb Mason, Elizabeth Little. Those are all foreign counsel. They're waived in pro hoc vice. And what on earth is this? What do you want?
Hey, Diva! Can you open this for me? I literally can't.
You can't see me glaring at you. That's the funny part. What did you do to this?
It was already like that.
Ah, my fingers. Let's see.
You're just dramatic.
I'm not dramatic.
Yes, you are.
I'm not dramatic.
You're being dramatic.
You're being dramatic.
Lock in.
Have you used this before? Or is this brand new?
No, I've used it.
Okay, yeah. This is you've glued it shut.
No, it's fine.
It's not fine. It's glued shut. You need to get me like pliers or something.
You're so dramatic. I
Yeah, you got to get pliers or something because I got to break through the glue that's in there.
Well, do you know where other nail glue is? Because I'm trying to glue lashes onto my stuffed animal.
You could ask Mom. Otherwise, I don't know.
Oh, so you hate me. Okay.
Get out of my room.
Drama.
Yeah, your drama. Get out of here too.
I'm finding my violin. There it is. Okay, I'll leave now, Dad. I just want to play on.
What are you? Get out of my office. Oh my gosh. She has nail glue and she wants to apply it to, she wants to put eyelashes on one of her stuffed animals, I guess, like temporary eyelashes. Hey. Nick, your gay spot is huge. I know. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was saying. We've got a lawsuit brewing here for Karen Reed, and we'll look into it. It's the whole thing. We'll see how long I'm able to go tonight. Like, I'm not speaking of trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but I am pretty uncomfortable in general. I don't feel great. And I have a hearing tomorrow, so I will be in court tomorrow as well. I have to pick out a suit still. I am very behind. But yeah, so we're going to I think some people were a little concerned that maybe I would want to delay my hearing or something because of a pesky little car accident and a whole lot of fucking discomfort. But I don't want to delay anything. We're going for it. We're going to wrap this thing up. What time is court? I think it's at 9 in the morning. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going to get up there earlier. So we'll have a good time. Good time in court. I finally get my day. Why are you bringing a cat in here? Go put that poor cat down. That's what you get. And by the way, I'm taking umbrage. I'm taking umbrage with everybody who says anything about my driving ability or whatever. I will have you know, I am an expert at following white lines. I'm very good at it. I have lots of experience. So I don't want to hear any nonsense about that. What is the hearing for? The hearing is for a bullshit restraining order that was taken out against me almost a year ago, and the other parties' incessant delays have brought us to now to finally get my hearing, which I was supposed to have within 20 days of requesting it. So it took forever. Actually, it took me calling the other party a faggot every single day. And it worked. It worked. I said, I bet I'll get a hearing if I just call the other party a faggot every single day. And that seems to have panned out just fine. The faggot offenses function to give me what I was statutorily entitled to from the start. But yeah, so we'll go resolve that. It's been way too long. My rights have been impacted and curtailed by this bogus order. And all I've wanted the entire time is the opportunity to contest it. So let's see. Jeff Smith says, God bless you and your family. Thank God everyone is okay. Y'all are in my prayers. Now make me laugh. I am going to do this. This is important. And I want to I want to be very clear on this. Hold on. We are accepting super tips, supertip.gg/RL. We are accepting those. And I got to say, I am grifting. I am 100% grifting being in a fucking car accident. It's very, very inconvenient. Let's just put it that way. And so if you are down to participate in the Rekieta Law car accident grift, super tips is a great way to do it. Of course, any and all grifting is appreciated, and our grifting response is appreciated. But super tips is a fantastic way to do it. It allows you to have your chat, your brilliant and funny chat, read by an AI voice, sort of like this. And this is a big thank you to Melissa Pollard, who sent this one in. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Melissa. We're hoping to have a very happy birthday. Her birthday party is still on. But it is all very much appreciated. But here, I'll do this. Oh, sympathy donations and stuff. Ow. There you go. There you go. So I don't want to mention it a whole bunch of times. We're still doing a show. But if you want to do that, it is very much appreciated. Oh, there was no sound. Hold on. We'll play it again. I'll play it 1,000 times. 1,000 times, 1,000 times. Just a second. I gotta pin the chat. I gotta pin the link in the chat real quick. Also, guys, thank you guys for making the last two shows so wildly successful. They were really fantastic. I mean, after we switched to members only on the last show, listen to this. After we switched to members only on the last show, we still had over 1,000 people watching, which means we had 1,000 green names on YouTube. That's not counting the people who are on Rumble, the people who are on Locals, but we had over 1,000 people who were members. So that's a lot of dicks, and I really appreciate you guys. We also added 240 members eventually that night. But I want to point out, we switched members, or to members only, at 100 members that night. It might have been 110 or something, but that's when we switched to members only. There was 100 members, and so getting up to the 240 members that were, eventually added was actually an endeavor of pretty epic proportions of people joining in. That was crazy huge. So you guys are fucking awesome. Thank you for that. Let's see. So did I copy this and paste it? Oh wait, I should change this for. All right. Let me just put these links in the chat for you guys. And sympathy grift. Whoops. If I could spell sympathy, that'd be good. Sympathy grift right here. Boom. Social media is a weird place. It's like, oh, something bad happened to me. Something bad happened to me. Here you go. Help me out. And that's like, that's normal. I think. We're going to make it normal if it isn't. Sympathy grift. So there you go. Thank you. And again, I say all of this in jest. Everything sent into the show is always appreciated. Very, very much. Someone asked, was it the Ford car in your accident? No, it was our van. We have a 12-passenger van. Well, we had a 12-passenger van. It doesn't really, it's not the same now. It's traumatized. But no, it was not my Mustang at all. Okay. So we do have a couple super chats to get to, and then I've got the document pulled up for this lawsuit. Where the fuck did my window go? Here it is. I've got the document pulled up for this lawsuit, and we will get into it. Yeah, Turtle Boy is not part of the federal suit. Okay, I misread it. I thought he was. But yeah, we'll bring up this stuff. We'll look it up. And this is probably gonna be a couple shows because there's a lot to cover. Also, we'll talk briefly about the Bricks and Minifigs situation, although that had a dramatic change today when Bricks and Minifigs as a company split with the guy who was doing this stuff, the guy who made a problem infinitely worse than it could have been. They've finally just come in and said, this guy's out, and we're going to compensate the family and make sure they either get their Legos back or they get some sort of award for it. So what an insane thing. Jeff Smith says, God bless you and your family. Thank God everyone is okay. Y'all are in my prayers. Now make me laugh. We read that one earlier, but it merited repeating. Drop Barracuda has been a minute. Just wanted to say Joshua Johnson of Bricks and Minifigs has a head like a 1x1 Lego piece. Love the vajazzled shades. Thank you. I love them too. I got these out of the van. I went to visit the van today. There were actually the roller skates for the party were in the van. And so I had to go get those. And I looked down and these shades are just sitting there perfectly okay. I mean, they're nowhere near where they should have been. They were in like the back of the van. And it was like, oh, okay. Stuff just kind of flies around when you get in a wreck. So they were back there and they were not broken. Drop Barracuda, nothing like a little slapping turtle. Nothing like it. Actually, that's true. Mr. Watson MJ says, Mad Black Entertainment calling you out, Nick. Is that real? Is Mad Black really calling me out? What's he calling me out on? That's a blast from the past. Rhea Norman says, just popping in to say that's one fluffy fro. Well, I finally was able to kind of like stand up and take a good shower today. And I got out of it and I just like, I think it just, who cares? Who has lungs? Bring Backlemore says, so you'll have a resolution tomorrow all in one day. I mean, I can't promise anything. I know that we're ready to go. I don't want any more delays. This thing has been delayed for almost a year. And when it's all done, I'll talk about, whatever I'm able to. Right now, I'm still under a gag order for like what happened in the proceeding or something like that. The gag order was never all that clear. I don't even know if it was legal, but who cares? It doesn't really matter. I'm not like, at present, I'm not challenging the gag order or anything like that. There's no purpose in doing that. We just want to get the fucking thing done. But it is kind of crazy, like how long the gag order lasted, without any meaningful review of potential, like a prior restraint on speech. But it doesn't matter. This is effectively water under the bridge once this thing is resolved. So Treasure Island says, pin the super tip link. Oh, I forgot to. No, I pinned it now. Accident, schmaxident, no more excuses. Also glad you didn't die. I'm not emotionally prepared, so that would have been rude. Me either. I would have been really pissed at me. Fletcher Boy gifting 5 Ricada Law memberships. Thank you so much, Fletcher Boy. It is really appreciated. And Jordan Patterson says, glad you are all okay, man. And remember, for 7 months. All right. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Oh, wait, there are a couple Rumble rants I need to check out as well. One of them, Sergeant Orc says, I want the Christmas ornament that says Anne Frank is a lying cunt. Yes. Oh my God. Some of them are real bangers. Real bangers. Summarize says, I'm inconsistent. I love you. I know I can't pay a lot. Oh my gosh. Chill out. I love having you here. Don't worry about anything like that. I really appreciate everybody who just tunes in to watch. You guys are all great. You keep me going and keep everything going. So, like my digestive system. Okay. All right. So I think we've got everything now. Where the fuck did I just put this PDF? I like that. I don't know about you guys, but I like that PDF is also now the like de facto abbreviation for pedophile, because when I'm like talking about a PDF in Adobe, it always comes across like I'm talking about a pedophile, and that makes it, for some reason, that just tickles me, which is what pedophiles do. I think they tickle you. I think that's what they do. All right. I gotta get this. Let's get this lawsuit pulled up. Holy shit. This lawsuit is the opening salvo in what is about to be a massive, massive amount of pain for Canton PD. Like, they are not, I don't think they're prepared for how bad this is going to be. This is also the answer that some of us have been waiting for and wondering, okay, how's Karen Reed going to deal with this stuff? This is expensive. She's got all these very high priced lawyers working on this. Well, now the lawyers are working on it more, and they're, Alan Jackson is still on this. The damages from this. Can you imagine? The answer is no. You can't, and neither can I. Can you imagine what the damages actually are to Karen Reed? There are people every day calling her a murderer still and all that stuff. But it's not just that. Her life got flipped, turned upside down. She didn't have an uncle in Bel Air to go live with, I don't think. She didn't have that to go to fall back on. So she had to sit there and take it. The time she spent in jail, the time that her life was taken from her, and it was taken from her. All of that time, all of that is damage. All of that was done by Canton PD. Without the aid of someone like Michael Proctor, would any of this have happened to her? With any proper investigation, would any of this have happened to her? And Canton PD, from what I understand, in the city of Canton, has backed and supported the good work that was done. I mean, for a while they did. Now, like, I don't know if they still do. Oh, I haven't played that. I haven't replayed that super tip. I'm going to. But at first, they said, oh no, the investigation was good. Proctor's a good worker. All of that shit was there. Now, not so much, I don't think. But all of that backing, all of the support of the city that was brought against Karen Reed, because they put the whole fucking pedal down to the floor on accelerationist prosecution and attempting to stifle the speech of anyone who spoke out against her. They're still going after Turtle Boy, but all of that suddenly has a whole different tone when we start to look at how the cops conducted themselves and how that led to this this investigation and this this punishment, this persecution of Karen Reed. And real quick,
Happy birthday, little Rakita.
Thank you, Bob Alessi and Melissa Pollard. Thank you very much. And we have this. Here we go.
If you're in an accident, before you call 911, call 411. 1800 411 pain.
1800 411 pain. Thank you. Thank you very much. The best thing to do when you're in an accident is to make the phone call during the accident, preferably right at impact. It's very helpful.
Just burning some more compute and further draining investors' pockets.
Hell yeah. A-Logatog says, thoughts on Gabe Hoffman's recent attempts at A-Loggery. Glad to see you didn't suffer any permanent damage, mate. Well, of course, that remains to be seen. The hard thing about car accidents is, things can manifest over a couple days. I have follow-up doctor's appointments to make sure everything's good. And like I said, once everything's known and resolved, I'm happy to share more about the experience. Gabe Hoffman is, he's a turbo fag, and so I don't care what he does at all. For whatever reason, he turned his sights on me a while back, which I think was stupid because there's, I'm not really in his purview, and I think it was an ancillary attack on someone else, or he tried to. I don't know. But is he mad that I sold like non-Jew gold? Like, what is he angry about? I don't even know. But no, those sagas and those people are just a disaster. And they will do and say what they're going to do and say. Gabe is no different than any of them, outside of him allegedly having money, I guess. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know what his deal with anybody is. I don't know what his obsession with any of this stuff is. To me, it's weird that, because it seems like he would have anything else to do on the planet. But like I said, I don't really give a shit. Okay, here we go. So here is this Get Bigger, the embiggening. So you have Jew gold. No, I don't. I have, they were non-Jewish. I have this complaint pulled up. We've got Kay Starler says, hey, Racket, sorry you're in pain. I hear the first pegging is the worst, but I wouldn't know. Look at my member. Glad you're alive, too. 6 months. That's a respectable member, and I'm very proud of you for it. Frederick Little, do you have any thoughts on the Rick Chow trial verdict? I do not. Andrew Branca contacted me shortly before just the other day. I don't know exactly when on the timeline it falls, but it was just the other day he contacted me and just said, hey, you should look at this case. And he praised the closing argument of the defense attorney. He said it was a really good closing argument for a self-defense case. And so it was on my list of things to look at, but I haven't really looked at it beyond that. But it might be worth watching that trial, even though it's already over, because it just happened and some good lawyering occurred. And we got the right verdict from what I understand. But I haven't watched the case. Marcy Cruz, 9362, member for 11 months, says John's dead. He is dead. And that is something. Okay, back to this document. So the complaint, the not guilty verdict in Commonwealth versus Karen Reed on June 18th, 2025, did not merely end a wrongful prosecution. It shone an unflinching spotlight on something the Massachusetts State Police and the town of Canton Police Department have spent years trying to conceal. An embedded culture of bigotry, misogyny, systemic failures, and institutional rot at the very core of both organizations. As a result of this entrenchment, Ms. Reed now files this action against MSP and CPD for their negligent hiring, training, and supervision of bias and corrupt police officers. whose actions violated her constitutional rights and caused her immense harm. Now, they have a little bit of a chore here. Because while I agree with everything that they're saying, the idea, the question is, how much did the bias and institutional racism and all that stuff, how much does that impact Karen Read? How does it manifest in particularized harm to her? Right? These are the questions we have to ask in a lawsuit. And I ask them neutrally because I don't know. That's what the complaint is there to tell me. Now, the complaint is drafted by very competent attorneys. That doesn't mean shit, but we'll see. And, the interesting thing is, if you're going to argue that there's a supervision problem because you have, institutional racism, misogyny, and all these things, then you're going to say that Karen Read was treated or mistreated. She was treated poorly by Proctor and the Canton PD as a whole, because the Canton PD is directly aware of the inappropriate behavior of Michael Proctor. Now, this, of course, butts up against free speech, your right to call Anne Frank a cunt, your right to talk about leaky buttholes and buttholes that don't close, your right to talk about anal raping a suspect with your baton, I guess. Your right to talk about all of this stuff is balanced on how it impacts and affects any particular person who's mistreated by the system, in this case, Karen Read. Now, the reason these texts may be relevant when they otherwise might not be is because if these texts were widely known, circulated to a supervisor or some other person in charge of Proctor, then we have the negligent supervision, insufficient and negligent training issues, which now connect to real life harm caused to Karen Read. And I think that everyone out there can agree that even if you think justice was miscarried and all that stuff, you can certainly say that at this point, that Karen Read suffered damage at the hands of the Canton PD. Part of that is Michael Proctor and the Canton PD's management of him, or rather lack thereof. This is always the case. It's always the case in finding out, because you've always got a right. You've always got a right to do and say certain things. It's when that right butts up against someone else's right, privilege, or property. And once it does, then we have to ask the questions. Then we go to the court. And that's what we're doing here. Now, I haven't read this, so I'm not 100% sure how they're going to do it, but I would guess that's it. That his texts were pervasive, perverse, and known. And that they were known by his supervisors. This isn't one text with an N-word in it, right? Just a picture of Charles Barkley. It's just, he doesn't have that. He has a litany of text messages that have been shared. And so all of that is going to go to, that's going to go directly to the potential culpability of the Canton police. And we're going to...
Nick, the look tonight is giving Axl Rose. Sick of looking at his audience about to throw a fit and walk off stage. Peace out, Girl Scout.
Someone made the mistake of saying that I had Scott Weiland's haircut the other day, and I was like, fuck, that does look like Scott Weiland's haircut. Oh, shit. Axl Rose is new for me, but I'll take it. That guy is so fat these days. Let's see. The accident you had, it wasn't true. You tried to end it all because I can overlook the escape. But if you're there, go to VA, please, and talk to someone. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Holy shit. If you think I'm suicidal, I have a message for you. I have a message for you. If you think I'm suicidal, I can't abide any of this. Where is it? Where's my message, damn it? It's very important. Did I get that? Where the fuck is it? It's not that one. Well, I'm killing this joke. Here it is. Holy shit.
I am not suicidal. That's what I was about to say. Okay. I am not suicidal. Okay? I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I am not suicidal. Okay.
That's right. That's right. I am not suicidal.
Why you think you done it?
Okay, number one, Your Honor. Just look at him.
He talks like a fag, too.
Okay. No. Don't worry about anything like that. I'm absolutely not suicidal. Frederick Little says, glad you're okay. Hope Lady Rackets is well, too. Again, without commenting on anything or making any statements about anything, I'm glad we're all walking and breathing and everything. So that's good. All right, back to this. At the heart of Miss Reed's claim lies a distressing narrative, one not just about individual rights, but about fundamental principles upon which our society is built. Through his action, the MSP, which is Massachusetts State Police, and CPD, which is Town of Canton Police Department, will now be forced to answer for their police officers' unlawful conduct against Miss Reed that is set forth in detail below, but also for the insidious culture of bigotry and misogyny that fostered such unlawful conduct and has likely resulted in other unconstitutional criminal investigations in which countless unknown others have also suffered. Indeed, the MSP and CPD have avoided facing this very moment for years, but it's now time for the long-awaited transparency and accountability owed to the citizens of this Commonwealth. And there you go. So not only do they have this built-in misogyny, racism, and bigotry, but it is particularly affecting our client.
A wise man once said, "You'll know you're out of the woods when you stop seeing bundles of sticks everywhere."
Former MSP detective Michael Proctor and former, as of 2 days ago, CPD Sergeant Sean Good are virulent bigots. Well, calm down. Calm down. Who isn't a virulent bigot these days? Whose hatred for anyone and everyone different from themselves permeates their every action. They are not officers who occasionally voiced an offensive remark. I said this earlier. It's not just one or two N-words. They are men. That was George Washington's. They are men who was written and recorded communications sent to one another and to a circle of like-minded friends over the course of a decade. Establish entrenched and unrepentant hatred for women. Boom. First and foremost, notice the drafting. It's the subtlety. It's the subtlety of the drafting. Women first. Why? One, women go first. First out of the trenches, because we need another line of shields, and they just go first for everything. But also, your client is Karen Reed. Your client is Karen Reed, and her experience here and how this affects her is first and foremost. Unrepentant hatred for women, Black Americans, Asian Americans, Jews, Hispanics, Arabs, and gay people. That's just rude. Their unfitness for any position, giggity, of public trust was not subtle. It was extensively documented and, as set forth below, knowable to MSP and CPD long before either agency assigned them to investigate and prosecute Miss Reed. Proctor's and Good's involvement at the outset of the investigation into the death of John J. O'Keefe III invariably and irredeemably contaminated it in every respect. So they're going to go ahead and, not only... obviously we care that this affects Karen Reed, and we don't really care as much that it affects John because John's dead. But John does have, I think, at least some chicks that he made out with in a hotel lobby. But I think some other people who care about him too. Care still. And his loss is felt by people, and justice should have been served in this case. The investigation should have been done appropriately. They should have found a list of suspects. They should have interviewed them. They should have searched everything. They should have done all of this, and they didn't. Frederick Little says, new Kurt content coming soon. Well, he has to produce something worth watching. And once he does, then sure. But for now, I haven't seen anything particularly desirable to watch from Kurt in a little bit. Divining Rod says, Nick on the doll, show us where the big meanie E350 Econoline touched you. All over it. Ah! All right. As depicted in thousands of written and audio messages that the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office has thus far hidden from public view, and far from the inclusive values that both organizations publicly claim to pursue, Proctor and Good, which that sounds like a law firm right there, secretly and proudly wore badges of hate. Footnote, multiple copies of a thumb drive containing a selection of the audio recordings referenced herein are as attached as Exhibit 1. Oh, I want the audio recordings. Does anybody have access to the audio recordings? If not, I'll be pursuing access to those. I just don't know if they're out there in public, but man, do we want to hear some audio. Oh, God. I finally saw Michael Proctor for the first time. Have you guys seen that photo of him on the beach? It is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. It's one of the most horrifying things I have ever seen. His body shape it's just the word embarrassment spelled in a circle. Good Lord, with little twigs sticking out of it to carry him around. He's got big flappy titties and stuff. It's disgusting. Oh, it was horrible. I saw it and I was like, ew. Oh, how? Pull that up, Jamie. Okay. All right. I'll bite. Here we go. Apparently I have to take stuff off the screen or people are like, look at what he's got on his screen. Michael Proctor shirtless. That's going to come back to bite me at some point. Holy shit! There's a real buff Michael Proctor. Canton. Maybe Massachusetts. I think I tweeted the picture out if I can't find it. It's a picture of him on the beach with some people, and it's just like, holy Lord God in heaven, what is that? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Matt McCabe, is that who tweeted it out? So I heard Colin Albert joined the military now. He's just going to be, he just can't be around. He's going to be off to basic training or whatever. How much must that suck? If your family's like, you got to go. You got to go. And you're like, what? Wait, what do you mean you got to go? Like, join the military or something. Get the fuck out of here. It's like all you can, that's like all you can do is try and, you know, like, gotta get him the fuck out of there. Because otherwise, deposition's coming. Hold on. I'm tweeting entirely too much stuff lately, so I gotta find that specific one. Oh my God. Oh wait, no wonder. This is my own fault. I'm just scrolling through my timeline rather than going to my timeline. Oh, man. One of these weirdos like deleted their Twitter account. Hey, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I went into a Twitter Spaces. I was not invited to the other day. I think it was not too long after my car accident, and I was sitting in my car, and I saw Twitter Spaces happening, so I popped in there, and my God, it was great. They did not expect me to show up at all. So I saw some people asking, like, why would you go in there? Why would you do that? And it's like, well, because it was funny to me. And no one expected it. That's the other thing. You know, no one expected me to show up there, which I am not finding this picture. Okay, maybe it's in my... But yeah, Kate Peter was there. Some other retards were there. And this is the funny thing to me. They had the opportunity in that call to attempt to win me to their side, to give me information. I very famously did not look deeply into the sidecast of the Karen Reed trial. And the reason why is the same thing I do in pretty much all of my trial coverage. I don't look deeply into anything because I want to approach it like a juror as much as possible. And the jurors don't know any of this backstory stuff. And I do think that's one thing that the kind of online community gets, I guess I'll say gets a little wrong. I don't think that's the right way to put it, but people are going into these trials with a lot of knowledge that may never be presented to the court. I am not able to find this picture. Damn it. Well, anyway. And whoa, no, I don't want to hear me. All right. Well, I'm not able to find it right off the bat here. But there's a picture floating around where he's like on a beach, and God, he's just rotund. Let's see, what do we got here?
I've been in a car accident. The problem for me was the ambulance drivers started arguing on who would ride in the back with me. I think the swimsuit was at faulty AE.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I do want to thank the hospital staff because they asked me if I wanted to have my shirt cut off or if I wanted to take my shirt off because I was conscious. So I was able to avoid having my shirt chopped up, which was nice. But my pants were all like burned from the airbag. They got cooked. So that was cool. Okay. Back to this. Oh, I got to get, where is this one? Oh, we've got a chat here from Drop Barracuda says, racist tirade gooning weird. Who carries audio? Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, why is there audio that's referenced in the thing here? I don't know. I want to find out. Jenny LJ says, remember the Shabusiness trial? How many said I can fix her? Absolutely. Shabusiness she's your ideal jailhouse girlfriend. You know she's not getting out. She's not getting out. And if anybody else tries to touch her, she'll eat them. Okay, here we go. All right. So indeed, bigotry guided their every act as law enforcement officers for years. But such conduct remained disguised by the uniforms they wore and obscured by the support and encouragement they received inside the walls of the very institutions designed to prevent such injustice from and protect the public. For the MSP and CPD, not COPD, that's different, who hired, trained, supervised, and observed these two for years. Proctor and Good's hateful, despicable views were not only part of their own daily vernacular, but were woven through the fabric of their organization's culture and everyday conversations. All right. YouTube, for the purposes of reporting everything I say that's offensive coming up was all actually said by these guys, by Proctor and Good, not Procter and Gamble. Those are different. This is Proctor and Good. And, these are not censored text messages. So I do want to point out that there's going to be some very offensive language. If you're a giant pussy, there will be offensive language. Now, I do want to say something real quick. This is important, especially on an issue like this. You don't have to be offended. You don't have to be offended to find the notion that officers who are supposed to be neutral enforcers and protectors of the law are using repugnant language and making repugnant jokes. You don't have to be offended by the jokes, or I shouldn't say jokes, statements. You don't have to be offended by the statements. They don't have to hurt your feelings. You can call someone the N-word. I don't care. You can call me a mayo monkey. I don't give a shit. You can make fun of Jews. Doesn't bother me. That doesn't mean it's appropriate for a law enforcement officer who is charged with the neutral distribution of justice. It doesn't mean that the language being used, the things being said, the targets that they picked are not repugnant to the ideas of an upstanding self-policing society. We might make those jokes, but we expect better from officers on duty. And we expect that when these things are discovered and encountered, that these are dealt with. And here's why. If for nothing else, you fucking retarded wiggers, someone's going to read your goddamn text and a bunch of black people that you hate and put in jail are going to walk away. At some point, they're going to be like, oh, these guys are prosecuting people because they're racist. Those texts are going to come out and a bunch of people are going to walk. As proper haters of people based on their race, this should be the last thing you want to happen. I do apologize for using the hard R on wigger. But it's crazy. And some of the stuff in here is downright repulsive. Not the words, who gives a shit, but the description of actions. But you don't have to be personally offended for something to be inappropriate. All right. Speaking of inappropriate, Bill Dozer has rated the stream over on Rumble. Very happy to have you here, Bill Dozer. Thank you for joining up. Oh, someone asked what I was sipping. This is just, it's sweet tea and milk and a little bit of vanilla with some ice. All right, here we go. So I'm going to read these verbatim. You guys ready? Are you ready? And we've got to make a line of like Proctor and Good Christmas ornaments. Like this one. After telling Good about a multi-car accident in Canton, Proctor says, actually, take your time. I saw a nigger was involved, so I wouldn't rush. If you're working, let them die. God damn. Ow. Damn it. Straight out the gate. Oh. And yes, these aren't like time-stamped or presented in a particular order. There's an absolute reason why that's the first text that they put up. Holy shit.
My nigga, put the spoon down, you fat fuck. Love you, buddy.
Put the spoon. What are you talking? I use forks. Miss Upper Thigh. What a great name. says, is this a cold read for you, Rec? It's 100%. I have read nothing. I incidentally saw like a line here or there. So I know there's some good stuff, but everything is fresh and new to me. So no regrets, no breaks, no punches pulled. We are going to read these fucking texts. Michael Proctor says, my new VP is a giant malignant cunt. He misspelled malignant. Wait, did he? No. He asked if he spelled it wrong. Okay. He's like, I don't know if I've got malignant right. When you're calling someone a malignant cunt, who cares if you spell it right? To your buddy, especially. Every time I call the subway worker a malignant cunt to my friend in text, like, I am not concerned if I misspelled something. I pray to the heavens that some fucked up insect from the Amazon crawls up her vagina, hatches eggs, and the litter kills her by eating her from the inside out. Yes. First text, possibly the most offensive thing that he said, right? That's first text. Second text, directly about a woman going in a very misogynistic way. So I'm told, if you talk about a woman's vagina, especially bugs hatching up in there, that is misogynistic, according to the dictionary. Sam Good says, biggest cunt slut. Michael Proctor, referring to his then girlfriend's anus. Why didn't they tag me in to write this? Oh, God. I can't even get fucking near that thing. No, Michael. I make every effort possible. I wait till she's asleep and I try to get at it. Hey, wait. I've heard this story recently somewhere else. I try and get at it. I try every effort possible. I try to get her hammered. I can't get anywhere near it. It's starting to piss me off. It's not cool. Look, I can't even get near that booty. I can't do it. I'm trying. I'm putting forth best effort. Michael Proctor went into Canton High this morning. Oh no. To get a transcript and saw more niggas in 10 minutes than, I thought that was going to go different. Than the 4 years I spent there combined. That's not surprising. I don't know if he realizes that that's not a surprising thing. Like, the racial mix-up of your school probably doesn't change that much over a 4-year period, but we're talking about like 20 years ago. 25? Everywhere I looked, there was monkeys running around. Wanted to ask the woman in the guidance office, where were all the white kids? Where the fuck did all these nigglets come from? Oh my God. Sean Good says, eat a black dick. Michael Proctor, that lady was an absolute cunt rag nigga who had it in for me for some reason. Yeah, and who knows what that reason would be. Good Lord. Hold on, I just gotta make sure. Yes. What's up? All right, so we've got Sean Good says, stupid, ugly gook. So now we're branching out. We are branching out, and thank God. I was worried that this is only going to be negative towards black people. Hold on a second, guys. All right. Back to this. I was really worried that it was going to be that it was going to be focused just on black people. But thank God they're hitting more races. That really makes it better. Michael Proctor says, unfortunately, I know Randolph all too well. Place is a complete shithole filled with niggers, no good niggers. So that's again, very forward on this, and a little bit, there's some mild discrimination happening, I think. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that. Sean Good says she's a Jew, so definitely puts out, which is, it's nice to see a positive thing said about a Jewish person. You know, like that's good. Because you kind of worry that everything was going to be negative, but turns out they have some positivity in there too. Michael Proctor says, deport their asses. I don't care if they're here legally or what their excuse was. Fucking deport those sand niggers. So now we've got Arabs brought in, I presume. I don't know. I guess I don't know if I define the term the same way he does. Sean Good says chink tard. Fucking hell. Ah! Did they screw up his dumplings? Oh, ouch. Let's see. Michael Proctor says Detroit should be destroyed along with places like Flint, Michigan. They are breeding grounds for niggers to run wild. This guy is he's Sean Good says Jew fucker, which that makes sense. See, that one adds up. I don't know why they put that in there, because if she's a Jew, so she definitely puts out, you would want to have a Jew fucker, right? Like that seems like a logical thing. I don't know. I don't know why that one's in there. I think that was a mistake. Michael Proctor says it should be Punch and Nigger Day in Canton today out of retribution. Any shine you see, blast it in the face. Which shine is one I haven't seen around too much. Sean Good says just nigger, which in fairness is a neutral application of the word. And I think we need to divorce ourselves from being automatically offended. Michael Proctor says all gooks have shrubs between their legs. Wait. What? I don't believe you. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I have it on good authority that there are some that don't have that. Oh, somewhere, if you look. And then Michael Proctor says, America sucks. Hitler was really onto something. Then the fucking U.S. had to step in and ruin it. That's a winner of a text. Now, see, right now, we know now that we've got some good gold in here. There are thousands of these. Thousands. Oh, God. Is there a complete list somewhere? This is just what's in here, but is there like just a file out there with all these text messages? Or do you, like, you probably have to sift through it, right? Because there's like tens of thousands that they have from some of these other lawsuits. Indeed, throughout the course of their friendship, which dates back to high school, Good and Proctor bonded over the warped prism through which they both view their surroundings and the individuals they encounter in their personal and professional lives. I don't know. It sounds like they're around a bunch of black people all the time. These distorted worldviews were shaped by unimaginable hatred and intolerance through which they dehumanized others, often wishing violence or death on them, demeaning them, or even suggesting planting evidence on them to cause harm. Georgia Ann says, y'all need Jesus, lol. We all do. Georgia, that's the truth. It's the most true statement ever. We all need Jesus. Jody Who says, it's still not public. Okay, that's fine. I think we're going to have, I don't know if we can even make a song with this. In written and recorded audio conversations beginning in 2013, the year of our Lord, the year MSP hired Proctor, and when Good was already an officer with CPD, And for almost a decade later, these two law enforcement officers referred to community members whom they encountered as cunts, fat cunts, not to be confused with skinny cunt queens. Real cunts, not fake. Why? You got three cunts right up front. You got cunts, you got fat cunts, and you got real cunts. Niggers, dirty niggers, nigglets, referring to children, stupid, ugly gooks, chinks, chinktards, spics, and Jew chicks. Proctor and Good believed these folks were polluting the neighborhoods in which they lived and worked, and where they eventually served. They did more than just subscribe to and act in conformance with their bigotry. They actually memorialized in writing and voice messages to their like-minded friends, not a few communications, thousands of them. And I want to be very clear to the YouTube gods out there. I do not condone or endorse any of this. This is a public document that is a matter of serious public concern. And I take these statements very seriously. No joke. No joke. These statements are overtly discriminatory, and you have a right to be discriminatory, but not when you're policing, not when you are the arm of government enforcement. You don't have a right to act this way and talk this way. You can think this way on your own time. You can. But if you're out there and if you're enforcement, oh, good. Your enforcement is influenced by these feelings that are discriminatory and, overtly racist and sexist, then you're not a proper enforcer of the law. And that's okay. You don't have to be. You can work somewhere else, like, the electric company or something.
Thank God you have super tips, because if you weren't demonetized before, you might be now. The hardest of all ours tonight.
We are firmly opposed to using any discriminatory language in a derogatory manner against any persons. This is news reporting, again, of the highest order.
Just to burn some more compute and send a few nickels to the show. Nickel, 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 nickel.
I thought there was another nickel. I thought there was another nickel. In written and recorded audio. Oh, wait, I just read that one. So, yeah, they did more than just subscribe to and act in conformance with their bigotry. They actually memorialized in writing and voice messages to their like-minded friends. Not a few communications, thousands of them. Oh, and thank God we have more coming. They discussed sharing private nude pictures of women and intentionally ejaculating on women while they slept. You got to get consent ahead of time if you're going to do that. You have to get consent ahead of time. You cannot just run around ejaculating on sleeping people. Ask all of Japan. Few protected classes, community members, or public figures were spared. Spare no one. Good wrote, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu is a little cunt. I don't think they had little cunt. They had cunts, fat cunts, real cunts. They didn't even mention little cunts. They had those two. Sean Good said the governor can suck my dick. New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft is a terrible cunty Jew. And Anne Frank is a lying cunt. I heard everything she says is a gas, frankly. Solid says it's one thing if it was a joke. These aren't that. Well, and again, these are, I'm sorry. You get your freedom of thought, you get your freedom of speech, but you're a public servant, and public servant means that your bills are paid by the taxpayer. Your salary, your wages. Your power to enforce the law comes from your community, not from anywhere else. You're borrowing that, you fucking losers. You didn't do anything to earn it. Michael Proctor didn't create the system of policing in Canton. He doesn't get to own that. He borrows it from you. He borrows it from me when I'm there, because the community of Canton, the state of Massachusetts, the nation of the United States, any law enforcement that happens within its borders happens as a substitute for our own system of justice, one that we would implement otherwise, one where murderers would be dealt with differently and faster. We might get it wrong sometimes, though. One that used to be posses, one that would go steal someone's everything if they stole your something, because that's how community justice worked. The problem is community justice had flaws. Popularity dictated who got enforcement, etc. So we gave our power of law enforcement neutrally to a neutral party that was supposed to neutrally enforce it for us. You may not like that. You may like it. It doesn't really matter. That's the social contract you're in. That's what we have done. We have given power to someone else in the hopes that they would do a better fucking job than we would. But it turns out these guys are putting that to shame. They're doing a way better job than anyone could have imagined. Treasure Island says they're 100% making Proctor read these in court. Oh yeah, that's going to be good. That's going to be good, especially when he's too bashful to say whatever racial slur he wrote down. Like when he's too bashful to drop it in court. And the judge is like, why don't you read it? Why don't you just read it? Calvin Stover Jr., 7-Eleven, member for 5 months, says, hello, everyone. What's up, Calvin? Nice to see you today. Solid 5356 says, it's one thing if it was a joke. These aren't that. That's correct. And we have Tamara Holloway. Here we go.
Which says Nick or more? The prophet Matthew Harris's death sentences or the Proctor good exchanges?
The moment I get access to all of those documents, we are doing some word searches. We are going to find out if we can break that 11,000 N-word barrier. You can't put a glass ceiling on me, Matthew Harris. We will achieve. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Ow, ow, ow. Sorry, I'm sitting here banging on my armrest and remembering that my wrist really fucking hurts. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Not really. It's starting to yellow out, but I guess like here hit the steering wheel or something in the dash column on this wrist. So that's painful. I forgot about it for a second. Let's see. We've got Genuine has become a YouTube member. Welcome, Genuine. And we do have Bob Vecna, member for 4 months, says, can the FCC fine them if they play these on TV? I don't know. I don't know how those broadcasting rules and standards matter and anymore, because they should be relaxed. And it seems like in some respects they are getting relaxed. You hear a lot more profanity, especially on the news and stuff today, like than you used to. And I think there might be some newsworthiness exception, but I haven't really looked into it. Dragonfly 3312 says, you should have seen Emily D. Baker have multiple aneurysms reading this on stream. I thought she was going to need an ambulance. Why? Was it just because of how how well constructed English the texts are? We're using an older form of English here. Oh, really? Which one? Like the Oxford English Dictionary, like UK English, like some sort of hybridized English, like a Creole style. No, we're using 1861 English. That's what we've chosen to use. Oh my God. Cat Slave says, hail Nick, arm is really bad. I may need a shoulder replacement, micropene. Wait, what's wrong with your arm? Sanglant says airbags shouldn't go off in wrecks where you aren't going to die if they don't. They, I mean, again, I'm not talking about anything, but when things are appropriate, I'll show you guys the pictures and stuff after everything's worked out. But very, very easily, we could have had a real tragedy on our hands. All right, so going back to Anne Frank's a lying cunt. Put simply, they were there and now completely and unquestionably unfit to hold positions of authority with MSP and CPD, much less to play important roles. Or in Miss Reed's case, the primary role in homicide investigations. And despite that, CPD had received, reviewed, verified, and analyzed these same messages nearly a year ago. Sergeant Good remained employed. This is a bad look. Remained employed with full rank as a sworn police officer by the CPD until 2 days ago. That is not so good. Again, they were made aware. They were made aware of this and allowed him to continue. Now, how does his continuing employment, how does that affect Karen Reed now? It's hard to say. We'll have to see how they link those together. One of those things, well, he remained employed for a year. Okay, but everything that happened to Karen Reed had already happened, right? Well, maybe not, for one. For number two, just because they're made aware of it now doesn't mean that they weren't able to be aware of it prior. Maybe they have information that they probably were aware of it prior. Maybe there's a litany of complaints from black suspects or convicted persons. Like maybe there's a whole bunch of complaints about the overt racism of these guys. Who knows? I don't know. We'll have to see. Jim Tells You says, what up, homie? He says, what's up, homie? Hey, what's up, Jim? Nice to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Hold on. I need to... Hold on, I gotta... And ask for help. Okay, on January 29th, 2022. Sorry, when I say ask for help, before anybody's weirded out by that, I'm just asking my son to bring me a couple Dr. Peppers when he gets a second. That's all. Rita. Hola, Rita. Buenos noches. On January 29th, 2022, the MSP and CPD unleashed these two misogynist bigots on Miss Reed to work on the conflicted and corrupt investigation in the death of Mr. O'Keefe. It did not take long. It did not take long to trigger their hatred and target Miss Reed. Indeed, Proctor, Good, and other police officers and their respective organizations understood the assignment once their fellow cops and friends, Brian and Nicole Albert, Matthew and Jennifer McCabe, and Brian Higgins, referred to as House defendants in Miss Reed's pending federal court action, falsely reported that Mr. O'Keefe never went inside the house, even though his face was battered and bruised. Ooh. He had dog bites and scratches on his arm, and he had severe laceration on the back of his head that could have come from a backward fall onto a rigid surface in the house rather than a flat front lawn. Law enforcement began immediately targeting and framing the female outsider, Ms. Reed. And that's obvious. That's obvious. Anybody should recognize that this is what happened. I love it, by the way. All these people who are out there like, you can't say that these guys are the murderers. That's defamation. It's like, they look like murderers. In fact, they look more like murderers than most people who have murdered someone. Maybe each one of them didn't participate in the murder. Who knows? But it sure looks like they're murderers. It sure looks like there's a cover-up. And it sure looks like a frame job. And again, I'll say it until I'm dead. Karen Reed and Turtle Boy didn't convince me of this. Jen McCabe, the Alberts, and Brian Higgins convinced me of this. The corrupt court system in Canton convinced me of this. Bev Canone convinced me of this. The abject effort to obviously frame the not guilty and to continue a campaign of harassment and destruction following that not guilty verdict by putting out statements saying that justice was not carried out, stating that murder is walking free or whatever exactly the statement says. I don't think I have the exact words right, but putting out that statement, doing the interview with ABC, trying to make a documentary, trying to pitch and sell that documentary all over the place. They're absolutely injecting themselves into this and trying to influence people's opinions of them. That's a normal, natural thing to do. It also makes you a limited purpose public figure. And you can put your faith in fat online Jabba the Hutt-esque people like Kate Peters to spread the message like she would spread mozzarella on a ball of human lipids. But you can't escape the truth and you can't escape the legal reality of what you're doing. And what you're doing is trying to relitigate that which you failed to have your corrupt pals litigate twice. You failed twice. That's what you're doing. And people get to call you out on it because you're limited purpose public figures, because you're doing this in public, because you brought this upon yourselves. No one asked you to lie on the stand, you dumb motherfuckers. No one asked you to come out and frame an innocent woman. And for everybody out there is like, OJ did it, so Karen Reed did it. That's retarded. These are way different circumstances, and the not guilty verdict on OJ came after a very different case. The biggest problem for these morons is the fact that the credible, existing, neutral investigation into what killed John O'Keefe, or rather, more precisely, as to whether or not Alexis killed John O'Keefe. The answer is a resounding no. John O'Keefe died from something other than Karen Reed's car. Something else. That's true. That's backed up by the science. It's backed up by the testimony. It's backed up by all of the forensics, even as shittily as they were collected. It's backed up by all of the video as well. And the audio, and the phone calls. Everything points to something else killing John that night. Everything similarly points to a botched investigation. And they are right now linking that botched investigation to their overt, complete and utter misogynistic approach to everything, which they will subsequently link, I'm guessing, to Michael Proctor's specific texts about Karen Reed, which match up with the ongoing, decades-long trail of misogyny and discrimination. This is why it's important. This isn't new, this isn't novel, it isn't unique, but it does point directly to how Michael Proctor consistently talked about women and minorities, using the same vernacular to discuss Karen Reed during an active investigation. Oops. Cat Slave says, fell hard Tuesday before last and broke my arm. God damn. At the hospital. Go for a scan tomorrow. how badly the top of the humerus is shattered. Micropene times 2. And I believe that's the only micropenes we've had during this show. We have had a couple memberships. I haven't had the banner going. Oh my gosh, that hurt. Let's see. I haven't had the banner going, but we do have memberships available. They are going fast. They are going fast, but we have 8 members so far this stream, and you guys are welcome to participate and get your own memberships, add your own or gift memberships to other people. And I think anyone who's a member here who watched the last member show where we ended up having Will the Glarer on, we really that was a good fucking show. I would think personally that show is worth $2 or $5 a month. You may think differently. It's okay to be incorrect. It's fine. But we do have those available if you guys want to send in any memberships or gifted memberships. It's always a good time. Stupid April says the way they were unmoved by the FBI report showed how far up the corruption went. Yeah. Well, the problem is they had a body, and that body was a cop. So at some point, they had to have something. They had to have something. Cops don't die with no prosecutions. It's like a rule. It's not really a good rule. It's not really good for the administration of justice. It rushes things and it corrupts them. But it is like an unwritten rule. Stupid April says Proctor makes Furman look like he can't see color. It is crazy. When you think about could you imagine if they had texting for the OJ trial? How hilarious Furman's text messages would be. Oh my God. I mean, I know they kind of had it, but not like we have it today, right? Nothing like today. But whatever messaging system they had would be probably just pagers. Can you even get the N-word on a pager with creative lettering 416638 whatever? Oh my God. Okay, here we go. This is chapter 11. As the MSP's assigned lead investigator, and without knowing any more about Ms. Reed than she was an outsider and a female, Proctor openly exposed his ossified prejudice. Oh, this is very flowery. Ossified means effectively hardened into bone. Ossified prejudice when he described her to his group chat buddies as a retarded whack job cunt. They didn't have whack job cunts in there. I want my money back. Retarded whack job cunt with no ass that leaks poo. Whom they decided 16 hours in the investigation had zero chance of skating. She's fucked, he pronounced. Proctor intended to make the investigation cut and dry so he and his close-knit circle of friends could pin it on the girl. He's trying... I guess he would be opposed to a leaky booty. I guess so, right? If he's trying to... if he's trying to get up in there... If he's trying to get in that, but with his own girlfriend, he can't. I guess he would be mad if he surmised. I'm not saying this. I'm going to insulate myself because I have no idea. But if he surmised, for example, that Karen Reed enjoyed backdoor activity based on the text messages, you would see why maybe there was some hostility there. Maybe some jealousy issues. Immediately after Miss Reed's arrest, Good made the same type of sexualized and dehumanizing comment about Miss Reed's medical conditions and physical appearance that he and Proctor, so she confirmed no ass, I think is what we learned there. that he and Proctor peddled in the hallways of their organization on a daily basis. Quote, Jesus, every girl will want a brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, colitis if you can look like that in yoga pants after killing your boyfriend. Ooh. I thought she had no ass. That's what they said earlier. Now they're saying that she has yoga pants legs like crazy. Galaxy Gas Shop USA says maybe John did ketamine and hit his head on the kitchen counter. No way it was his spouse. Maybe he did. I don't know. He doesn't have a spouse. So not really sure on that one. So here we go. Proctor seized Miss Reed's phone and launched immediately into a search for naked pictures of her. Only report back to his colleagues and friends. Disappointingly, no nudes so far. But as he wrote to others as his investigation began, he hoped that she kills herself. Well, that's nice. That was a good one. There was no racist messaging in that one, so I think that one's okay. MSP and CPD's investigative approach was born out of Proctor and Good's perverse and depraved pattern of singling out and vilifying an outsider while protecting the blue line and their families. And of course, this is what we know. Like, we know that this is kind of the impetus behind all of it. Back the blue line, circle up the wagons, make sure that the right people are protected and the focus goes on the wrong people. It's the old 3-card Monty. 3-card Monty, but with a leaky butthole being instead of a bean. MSP and CPD's investigation. Oh, wait, I read that one. This was, of course, made more palatable by dehumanizing Miss Reed. With the help of Good and CPD, Proctor and his colleagues at MSP, including, see, this is an interesting paragraph. Paragraph 13, just going back to that. Dehumanizing Miss Reed. People don't seem to realize how important dehumanization is as a precursor to accusation. Once you dehumanize someone, once you have made them into an object, once you've made them into a point of discussion, once you've made them into a topic, a headline, a subtext, any of these things, once you have memified somebody, you can justify anything against them, up to and including criminal charges. Unless someone stands up for it, unless someone intervenes, unless something comes along to prevent what's happening. The dehumanization is the first part. And again, what does Michael Proctor have to say to his colleagues and friends to get them to justify the fact that he's going through a woman's phone and as part of his job, and then he's sending out that information, or he's talking about what's in her messages, or he's talking about her private medical conditions? It's justified if she's a murderer. It's justified if she's a cop killer. It's justified if she's, a stupid, stuck-up, rich, privileged bitch, right? It's all justified if the dehumanization is done right, if it is done thoroughly and completely. And that's why this matters. Again, people don't allow you to do these things. These things are taboo. These things are shunned by society unless that person is sufficiently discussable for whatever reason, unless they cease to be a person. So number 14, with the help of Good and CPD, Proctor and his colleagues at MSP, including his direct supervisor, Yuri Buchanek, this is a problem, conducted a fundamentally conflicted and corrupt investigation where the goal was to pin it on the girl. And remember, that comes early, just like Proctor, that comes early, and which included rampant violations of policies, procedures, and ethical rules. For example, and as described further below, despite the overwhelming evidence that Mr. O'Keefe was inside the house at 34 Fairview Road, they did not search the home for blood, fingerprints, or DNA evidence. The house was neither processed nor photographed by a forensic criminalist. Sorry, not criminologist, criminalist. Indeed, the investigators did not even walk into the crime scene house until a week later, and then only for a pro forma visit and brief interview of Nicole Albert. No effort was made to secure evidence from the Albert's German Shepherd, even though Mr. O'Keefe's body was found in the front yard with fresh and obvious dog bites and scratches on his right arm. Nor did Proctor, Buchanan, and their MSP colleagues conduct any physical examination of the house defendants or attempt to seize their phones. The investigators did not attempt to secure the crime scene, document evidence, collect biological material, videotape, or record interviews, take DNA control samples, geolocate digital devices at the scene, collect electronic devices, secure surveillance footage, create a crime scene log, or maintain even the most basic chains of custody in accordance with well-established investigative protocol. Now, help me out, chat. Am I correct in my memory? Am I correct in my memory saying that they were not allowed to bring in an expert testimony on crime scene investigations? I seem to recall Bev Canone putting the kibosh on that. That paragraph that we just read, that's your indicator right here that is high on their priority list. They're going to have some of the best crime scene investigators probably in the country, certainly in Massachusetts, come out and say, this is a butcher's job of an investigation. And it's still baffling. It's still baffling to think about this. You have a dead cop and there's no crime scene, nothing, that you don't do anything at the time of death. You have a dead fucking cop on a property and you don't even, you don't ask anybody any questions. You don't go inside. You don't take pictures. You don't do anything. That's crazy. That's crazy. I hope none of you ever have a dead cop on your lawn, because if you ever have a dead cop on your lawn, guess what? You are going to have cops searching everything you own. You are going to have that. But they don't, the Alberts don't. What's a little Albert amongst friends? Maverick Cuba says Gavin McInnes just got a scram put on his ankle for 90 days. What for? Got a 90-day leg thing? Maverick Cuba says, I know it makes Karen's MADD, but I'm against DUI laws just for that. If an additional law is broken, I'm fine. Enhancement charges. Okay, so you're saying that Gavin had a non-collision DUI is I'm guessing what it was. Rosalind Duke says, I support this devil may care look tonight. I dig it. Thank you, Rosalind. I really appreciate that. I will put on a suit for court tomorrow, but I did not want to put on a suit tonight. But I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you. All right. So yeah, we have paragraph 14 is clear indication. They're going to bring in the expert. It's in the complaint. There's notice of the investigation's insufficiency as a core issue. And pray to God they're not going to have Bev Canone on here to cover up even further for these fucking losers. And they'll get some justice. Here's the crazy thing. Bev Canone may have been willing to step out on a limb for some of the people involved in the Karen Reed prosecution. She may have been willing to put her hand on the scales of justice a little bit for certain people there. But I don't know that Michael Proctor and Mr. Good, Samuel Good, I don't think that they made the list. Now, you guys know way more about this than I do. But I don't think that she has the personal connections to these guys that she had to the other people, right? Let's see. Maverick Cuba says he missed a stop sign and refused to do a sobriety test or blow into the special straw. Opinions? So here we go. Just briefly, look, you always got to talk to your lawyer for any, I'm not giving anybody DUI advice, but in many states, I believe most states, field sobriety tests are not required. There are some states where there is a requirement to do a field sobriety test, including a breathalyzer. In Minnesota, last I checked, you are not required to do a breathalyzer in the field or any field sobriety test. If you deny them, you should expect to be arrested. You should. However, you are required under Minnesota law to blow into what's called the intoxilizer, or submit to a blood or urine test at the police station after being arrested. However, you are not required to do anything there in the field. A general recommendation that is made very frequently in states where compliance is not required for field tests is to refuse to do any tests, because those tests only give them additional evidence to charge you and possibly convict you. If you don't do a field sobriety test, then there is no evidence of how you are acting or anything like that. But again, if you're going to refuse a field sobriety test, you should expect to be arrested and go to jail. You should expect for those, you should expect to be required to submit to a test, a confirmatory test at the jail. There's a whole bunch of reasons you might do that, but I don't know Gavin's story specifically, so I don't want to, I don't want to comment on it too much. Someone asked if I'm sick, says I sound rough. I'm not sick. I was in a car accident a couple days ago. My, lung hurts. Fuck. My lung hurts, and my voice is probably shot from yelling or whatever. But yeah. All right, here we go. Worse yet, with the help of others at both MSP and CPD, Proctor and Buchanan manufactured evidence to ensure that Ms. Reed was blamed for Mr. O'Keefe's death. Okay, so they're going directly to falsifying evidence, creating evidence, falsifying evidence, creating the conditions for which she would be arrested. Intentionally diverting attention away from Proctor's friends and fellow law enforcement officers. This included planting evidence at the scene on Mr. O'Keefe's clothes and on Miss Reed's vehicle to support the House defendant's false narrative that Ms. Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle. Notwithstanding that the investigators knew Mr. O'Keefe's injuries were inconsistent with a motor vehicle strike and consistent with a physical altercation and a dog attack. This is big. This is big. They've directly dropped it. The accusation is made. Dick's on the table. He planted evidence, period. Period. Among other failures, MSP and CPD's delegation of power and authority to those as biased, corrupt, and bigoted as Proctor and Good led to Miss Reed being wrongly accused of homicide for 3.5 years and subjected to suspicion, 2 arrests, 2 prosecutions, and public trials, and public condemnation. Indeed, with the exercise of ordinary care, both MSP and CPD would have known Proctor, Good, and others were unfit for service from the beginning. Incredibly, Proctor himself acknowledged this fact in 2017 after 4 years on the job, telling his friends, "No idea how I passed the background." That's such a... Everybody wonders how they passed the background. Like, holy shit, how did that happen? I don't know how he passed the background either, to be honest. But again, there is a cause of action. There's a cause of action for recovery for a wrongful prosecution. The crazy thing is, most people don't qualify for it. A lot of people are too wealthy for it. And if you're not wealthy enough, you're normally like, there are other reasons, but there is an action to recover for wrongful prosecution federally. That being said, I don't know if it applies to state actions or whatever, but that being said, this is different. Those are income limited, they're expense limited, there are caps all over the place. This is different. These are state torts, negligent, common law torts, negligent training, negligent supervision. This puts the liability on the police department. Now they're going to try and claim immunity here. That's going to be obviously the goal, or they're going to say that these guys are acting outside the scope of their employment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They have hurdles to cover, but this is a way, and it's a very rare way. This is a way to go after the police for the negligent actions that led to might be reckless actions. I don't want to limit it to negligence that led to a false arrest, and that false arrest was engineered by those actions and orchestrated by it. This isn't a recovery for a failed prosecution. This is a different set of civil torts and shouldn't be limited in the same way the others are. But you do have immunity issues with this. You will have immunity issues. There's a very nice super chat from Jenny LJ. Thank you so much, Jenny LJ. Big, large thanks for live streaming tonight with us. Virtual hugs. I will virtual hug you right back, and I'll say, ow. Uncomfortable, but appreciated. Thank you, Jenny. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Say hello to DC. Says, just a friendly reminder to escape top chat purgatory. Yes, always. On this channel especially, the best chat is live chat. You got to get rid of that top chat nonsense, because live chat is where the action is, where the offensive language is. We don't want any of that hidden. So make sure you get your ass into the live chat. All right. Now, after being twice acquitted of all charges related to Mr. O'Keefe's death, and I saw the anti-Karen Reed people coming after this saying she wasn't twice acquitted. She wasn't twice acquitted. It was only once. Now, after being twice acquitted of all charges related to Mr. O'Keefe's death, Ms. Reed brings this action to recover for and address MSP's and CPD's inactions, and negligent failures to ensure that justice was sought and served in the aftermath of January 29th, 2022. To be clear, however, this complaint transcends Ms. Reed's personal and actionable grievance. Yes, it does. Appealing to the higher, so this is drafting strategy, is appealing to the higher purpose of the court. The court's incessant mission to ensure justice for all those under its jurisdiction, for any who may be brought in under its wing. It is the eagle's feathers shielding you from the rain and bringing you to new heights, to get lofty and gay about it. That's the court, and they are appealing directly to the court's mission to ensure that justice is done here, because justice isn't being done, and the court not taking action here is complicit in injustice. These are high and lofty concepts, but those, this is motivation for the court to right a wrong, a very public wrong. Go Ask Alice says, hey, Nick, that Allie female on X, and then with a raised hand. Okay, that's you. Nice to meet you. Fuck. Fun times. All right. So here we go. Yeah, this complaint transcends Miss Reed's personal and actionable grievance. Rather, it is a clarion call for reform and accountability, cloaked with the emblem of authority, MSP and CPD, and their employers, Proctor and Good and others, betrayed their sworn commitment to uphold the law. Their prejudices undermine our very democratic principles in wielding the great force of government over those who are vulnerable and powerless. MSPs and CPDs, cultures of intolerance, hidden from the public, but in plain sight within these organizations, cannot stand unchallenged. MSP and CPD are culpable and must confront the consequences of their institutional negligence. All right, I'm going to skip the parties and jurisdiction. We have additional facts. So that was an introduction setting, but it did lay out a factual basis, and now we've got additional facts to support it. We're going to get back into this in just a minute. I just want to briefly comment on the bricks and minifigs thing. I did put it in the description. A full rundown of the scenario I could probably do, not tonight. I've been busy with my own stuff tonight. But I can probably do one. But by the time I do, it's gonna be over the weekend or it's gonna be Monday, and it looks like that's coming to a close. Maybe. From what I understand, the Bricks and Minifigs corporate has detached themselves from the franchise owner. He is gone, and they have offered to make the family whole by returning their Lego collection and offering monetary compensation if anything is missing. So in that, I'm sitting here going, they only have $200,000 worth of Legos, fucking amateurs. But that is allegedly what's going on. This is obviously what should have happened from the start. The idea that anybody took over a consignment franchise location and decided to attempt to nullify consignment contracts and take possession of things that are under consignment is insane. Just so you know, consignment, when things are under consignment, you still own the thing. You have just given it to someone else with a couple expectations, and you've granted them a list of authorities and related to that property. So with consignment, they are allowed to display and offer for sale or for whatever purpose. Literally, it doesn't have to be for sale. It could be for whatever purpose. They could be lending it as a front window display piece. Like if they have a massive collection of Legos, Bricks and Minifigs says, oh, we want people to come in, so we'll put up an attractive Lego collection, and then a bunch of people will come in and check out the shop. So they might have it under consignment for that. They might have it under consignment for sale. It's contract law. You can work out whatever you want. What they don't have it under consignment for is to have it stolen. That's typically, I mean, I guess it could be in the contract, but that's typically not there. And when you assume, when you take over a business, when you buy a business, you assume the contracts, both the benefits and burdens of those contracts, or you have a duty to execute the contracts under the terms of the contract. Like you are bound. You are bound by the prior rights holders' decisions. You're acquiring their assets and their liabilities, whatever they may be. You're acquiring them. Third parties who are impacted by that, their contracts don't change because someone else buys it. And if anybody who is out there thinking that that's how things should work or do work, unless it's specifically contracted, no. I mean, imagine, for example, hypothetically, imagine there's like a classic car dealership, right? And someone leases to them some classic cars that they've restored and have them for the front display. And it's like, you give me $1,000 a month and you can have my two cars displayed in front to attract business into your store. Okay, cool. That saves them from having to have their own classic cars or invest into them, etc., or to supplement their collection and make their property more attractive. This makes sense. So you have a contract like that. Now let's say Someone else comes in and buys the classic car dealership and they say, actually, these are ours now. Yeah, we're not paying you anymore. They're just ours. No, you don't get any money. They're ours. That's a ludicrous concept. No one would think that that's okay. No one would think that that's the appropriate way for things to be done. And the fact that it was done in something resembling that way did so much brand damage. Did so much brand damage to Bricks and Minifigs. And this is like a McDonald's owner turning everybody against McDonald's. Like, what the fuck are you doing? The fact that this guy is not like upside down in a lake somewhere is surprising because he cost them huge amounts of money, consternation amongst every other franchise owner. And, he's coming out with his little apology video. Like, they're getting family members have been confronted. They've been getting review bombed on stores and they're individually owned. Like, yeah, faggot, you did that. That's you. You did that. Your dumb decisions and the way you conducted yourself is why everybody else is taking heat. They all have claims against you. What a piece of shit. He's lucky that his knees haven't been sledgehammered at this point. Like, what the hell? But yeah. So we'll see. Here's the thing though. It sounds like I'm hesitant to say that this is over. Bricks and Minifigs have parted ways with the franchisees and they've made an offer to the family, etc. The family doesn't have to accept. The family has had to go through a lot themselves and it's not their fault. They didn't nullify the contracts and steal stuff. Someone else did, and someone else did using Bricks and Minifigs' name. Bricks and Minifigs has made an offer for settlement effectively. They've offered to resolve it, but they may not want to resolve all claims by this offer. It sounds like it's a fairly generous, reasonable offer. We'd like to return your collection to you. If anything's missing, we're going to pay out. Well. Maybe their hurt is worth more than just direct one-for-one compensation of loss. Maybe their hurt goes beyond that. Maybe they've been harassed. Maybe they've been harangued in public. Maybe, who knows? Maybe the statements made by the representatives of Bricks and Minifig that have been cut, like the franchise owner and stuff like that. Maybe those statements and maybe their attitudes caused harm to the family. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. At the end of the day, if they do settle out, we'll probably never know the terms, although we might, because this is one where like Bricks and Minifigs, to recover the damage to their own brand, might need to make those terms public. That might actually be a condition of their settlement, saying, hey, we want to do this. And if they do, my God, like, I don't know what their books look like. I don't know what their books or their balance sheets look like. But man, you can imagine that a wise business settlement in this case would not just be value for value. Oh, we'll return your stuff, and if anything's missing, we'll pay for replacement. But to offer maybe a significant cash payout as well, to recognize the emotional distress, the things that they had to go through because of this, even up to half or the full value of the collection while returning it and having that public. And what you're doing there is you're spending $100,000 to $200,000. You're buying the goodwill of the public back and saying, look, we're willing to do this. We're not just going to return the thing for them. Or maybe you offer, maybe they don't have the cash flow to offer a $200,000 settlement or whatever, but they offer some major partnership. Like, let's say Bricks and Minifigs does a buyout of the Lego theme park, Legoland or whatever, for their employees or for their high-paying customers or something. Maybe they have something like that already, and they offer to make this family a big part of it and to incorporate that in. I mean, who knows? But there's a lot of things that they could do to make this look a lot better than it does right now. But as of this point, as far as I'm aware, they're at a settlement offer, and the family has not accepted it yet. But maybe they have. But the last I read, they hadn't accepted it. And you guys aren't yelling at me yet, so I think that might be true. Speaking of things that are true, KBean1 has become a member on YouTube. Thank you, KBean1. Welcome. I assume you will find membership delightful and disgusting at the same time, which that's all we really want for people here, is to be delighted and disgusted at all points. The Pants Maestro, speaking of disgusting, says, Nick, when you really dig into the bricks and minifigs, you're going to realize this is a craven attempt to screw over Reckless Ben. Can't wait to watch you figure out what's going on. See, I don't know who any of these people are. I know Reckless Ben is a guy who like raised money for the family and stuff like that. I know there's some controversy around this, but I don't know what all of it is. So I've been otherwise occupied, and I apologize for any information I happen to get wrong at this point. But okay. Now that I've talked about that a little bit, you always want to do what you say you're going to do as much as possible. Let me put down that we are at 9 members for the stream tonight. Thank you guys, everyone who has joined up for the show. I really do appreciate it. Ow. Super fun. Okay. Additional facts. Back to Karen Reed, Michael Proctor, Samuel Good. I do want them to create like an insurance company, Proctor and Good, or whatever. They should make it like adult diapers, like an incontinence line. Stupid April says, what were you occupied with? You're acting like you were in a horrible car accident or something. Yeah. Ow. I was up in my kitchen and I coughed and I was like, ow. And one of my kids was like, who was not in the vehicle, was like, what's up, Dad? You good? And I was like, yeah. Don't worry about it. They're like, what's wrong? You sound horrible. I'm like, well, like one of my lungs probably got to about this thick, like smashed into my ribs. So like there was that I think that's why it hurts to breathe. But I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. Additional facts. By January 29th, Proctor and Good both. What a great word. Inveterate bigots. Both inveterate bigots had long-standing and deeply held biases against women. Dave Whitley says, you were coked out, bro. If I was coked out and got in a car accident, I'd be in prison. Like, I wouldn't, you don't understand. Like, there wouldn't be a hearing. I would already be in prison if that were the case. So, that's a good indication of the truth of that statement. Cat Slave says, Micropene 3. And you are carrying the micropene. You're carrying all the micropenes today. I'm very proud of you. I know it's not that much of a burden. So Micropene 3. Nick sexted the cops. Or sexted the cops. Well, sexted the cops, right? Like, that's what it was. All right. So they had long-standing and deeply held biases against women, as well as almost every other protected class of people other than white, male, non-Jewish police officers. Oh, boy. No, only the non-Jewish ones. The Jewish ones were very busy. Very busy. Proctor and Good's clear willingness and tendency to dehumanize, judge, and evaluate people and circumstances based on their hatred and biases significantly contributed to their willingness to embrace the narrative provided by the House defendants and target Ms. Reed, leading to the destruction of her career. That's one of the things that doesn't get talked about too much in criminal prosecutions, especially false prosecutions. Is that people's careers are destroyed. And I mean utterly devastated. There's no way Karen Reed recovers from this, because anywhere she goes, any job that she tries to get will be belabored with people emailing and, well, you've got a murderer on staff. It has to be kept quiet. The moment he gets out, it's going to be news. Why bother with any of that? Real Patriot Party on Rumble has gifted a subscription, says Rumble members one. That has happened. Real Patriot Party, thank you for doing that. It is very much appreciated. And we'll tick that up there. Rumble members. I might do a combined Rumble Locals members counter sometime. Kind of shorten the thing a little bit. They're effectively the same. Haven King says Karen could try being a valet. Don't stand behind her. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. It contributed to their willingness to embrace the narrative provided by House defendants and target Ms. Reed, leading to the destruction of her career, her financial stability, and her very freedom, as well as the emotional and physical harm caused by 2 years-long prosecutions and trials from a crime she did not commit. And anything that starts with prosecutions, 2 years of prostitution, also very painful. Proctor and Good's reservoir of vituperation. Wow. Remember vituperation? Do you remember? Guys, we were watching a Kurt and Nate video. I don't know if you remember. We were watching a Kurt and Nate video, and they didn't know what vituperative was. They didn't know what vituperative was. Now we have vituperation in a lawsuit. I'm not going to accuse these guys of watching the show. I'm not going to accuse these guys of watching the show. But it is vituperation is put in there. And I love it. Fed by their staggering prejudices and the extent to which they were willing to pass judgment on others based solely on gender. Well, hold on. It was a woman driving. Like, race, religion, or sexual orientation are apparent from each of their contributions to the cesspool of abject hatred reflected in their group chats and email chains with their friends. Beginning in 2013, below is a selection of those messages. This is like when they bring out a slab of different ribeyes. Like, which one would you like today, sir? I'll give you the cow's name. There's footnote number 2, very important to read here. Originally, Ms. Reed attempted to file all of her affirmative claims against all parties, including the town of Canton and Massachusetts State Police, in the one action she filed in Bristol County Superior Court November 17, 2025. That pleading contains all of the alleged facts sufficient to establish all claims against all parties. However, the town of Canton Police Department and Massachusetts State Police refused to waive the 6-month presentment period. And by the time the presentment period expired, the House defendants had removed Ms. Reed's Superior Court complaint to federal court, where it is now pending. Because the Massachusetts State Police enjoys immunity from federal court jurisdiction, Ms. Reed cannot add these claims to the pending federal court action. Therefore, although Ms. Reed now brings this action separately in Bristol County Superior Court, relying on many of the same factual allegations already asserted, rather than set forth those same facts again here, Ms. Reed simply refers to and incorporates them by reference. So they're bringing in her entire other complaint and the factual assertions made in the other complaint to prevent the bulking out of this one. This one's already a crisp 87 pages. That's a lot. That's a lot. Let's see. What is it? So what is the 6 month? They refused to waive the 6 month presentment period. And by the time, I wonder what that is. Let's take a peek at that. Let's look further into this thing. So we have MGL C258S4. C258S4. Whoops. Need a space there, homie. I've already looked at this. So civil action shall not be instituted against a public employer on a claim for damages under this chapter unless the claimant shall have first presented his claim in writing to the executive officer of such public employer within 2 years after the date upon. So here we go. 6. Okay, the failure of the executive officer to deny such claim in writing within 6 months after the date upon which it is presented, or the failure to reach final arbitration, settlement, or compromise of such claim. Okay, so they waited out the full 6 months. That's what happened here. They waited out the full 6 months. So Karen had to wait 6 months to file the claim. And so that claim is insofar as a public employer, which is why these are the 2 police departments. Those 2 police departments are the public employers, not claims against employees or other persons. So this is the follow-up and supplemental action that is in theory attached to the other action. However, again, jurisdictional issues with immunity. Excuse me. State police departments having immunity in federal court. So they had to wait for this presentment period. So they're explaining to the court why there's this other action that's similar, and also why they're going to just incorporate by reference all of the other things. So just wanted to clear that up for my own understanding, as well as help you guys if you had any questions about it at all. All right, so messages sent by Proctor. Oh, thank God. Ow. Even during MSP's hiring process, Michael Proctor could not contain his bigoted views. Look, I've got bigoted views and they've got to get out. I can't contain them. How would the world know? How would the world know if I just try and bottle them up? Michael Stetson, member for 7 months, says Kurt's cooking is vomituperative. I agree. Disgusting. Horrifying, really. Frankly, it's not good. It's not good. Not great. On February 26, 2013, Proctor wrote to his friends, "Hey, dickheads." Don't make me like him. "Hey, dickheads. I just wanted to give you 2 a heads up that you guys may get a call from a state trooper named Scott Cooper, who's doing my background check. Hey, Scott, we've got questions. Don't know who far back they are going to go with this stuff, but didn't want to have this guy catch you off guard." Very common. Hey, he might be looking into my friends and just ask you some questions. Proctor's friend responded, "No problem. But what are we supposed to say? Last time the Boston Police Department lady was grilling me for exact dates as to when and how long you lived in Brighton, how we paid rent, to who, etc. Anything specific we should be aware of." Proctor responds, "That lady was an absolute cunt rag nigga who had it in for Bear," referring to himself in the third person by his nickname Bear in his friend chat group. And I think I said this during the trial, but I'm going to go back to the well on this one happily. This nigga gay as fuck. He is gay as shit. Which is why he calls himself Bear. Talked to this guy for a half hour today, and I would be shocked if he pulled the same shit as her just from how she acted with me on the phone. Apparently, MSP did not pull the same shit as the Boston Police Department, who did not hire him. That's an important fact. This is an important fact about the negligent training, negligent supervision, the awareness. Boston looked into him, was like, nah, thanks. It's not definitive. It's a nice supporting fact. They did a proper background check. They did a proper investigation. This is the implication, obviously. Did not hire him during these interviews because MSP hired Proctor. It hired him at the time Proctor was constantly sharing countless messages with his friends and other law enforcement officers that illustrate the extreme and aggressive prejudices and biases he held against women, people of color, the LGBTQ community, and others. Proctor's views even polluted his thinking about MSP's hierarchy and leadership. Quote, if that person is black, they will probably make him the next colonel of the state police. Again, that's another complimentary line, like that Jew line earlier. Jews be fucking, they do. Much of Proctor's aggression and hatred, however, was directed at women. Again, always be tying this back up over and over like a shitty naval knot. Loop around and around and through and around again. Always tie it back to women. Remember, your primary victim in this case is Karen Reed. Much of Proctor's aggression and hatred, however, was directed at women. In fact, from the time of his hire at MSP through the time he began investigating Miss Reed, Proctor shared countless messages with his friends about his perspectives on women. All right, buckle up, white Christian men. This is how we are supposed to view women from St. Proctor. None of this is satire or parody. All of this is stuff I believe. Here we go. Discussing a sexual partner not wanting to be ejaculated on. How am I going to get through this? Guys, she doesn't want to come on her. Like, what am I supposed to do? That's when you whack off on her when she's asleep. Then tell her one way or another, you're going to spray rope on her. Bitch, you can either see it coming or you can not see it coming, but we coming. Holy fuck. Oh God. Fat twat. Michael Proctor. I don't remember twats being laid out earlier, so I'm very happy to see some twats make it to the list. Grip Van Winkle said, how's about a Proctor and Cook contemporary thesaurus? Oh my God, that would be so good. How to Talk to Your Lover by Proctor and Good. So this is from the Steel Toe Morning Show. And before anybody gets excited, there's absolutely no way that this is him. So this is obviously a joke. Oh, hey, what's up, bud? Thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Good night. Good night, my man. All right. My son is finally back. He brought me some Dr. Pepper. Rita Castillo. Te amo, Nick. And te amo, right back at you, girl. Thank you. So this is not from the Steel Toe Morning Show, actually, but someone using his name for a Rumble rant. It says, what I miss most about you is hearing you use racial slurs, and I miss licking up your ropes. Me too. I miss my racial slurs and ropes, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so back to this. Giant malignant cunt. I pray to the heavens that some fucked up insect from the Amazon crawls up her vagina, hatches eggs, and the litter kills her by eating her from the inside out. Micromanage isn't even the word for this twat bag. I want to shove a crowbar up her asshole and let a rat crawl in there. Now, I don't mean to be crude. I don't mean to be crude. But I think if you shoved a crowbar in someone's asshole, that wouldn't allow a rat to go in there. Like, so the crowbars, you know, they need a counter force to pry against. Like, that's how that works. You can't just, like, if you shove a crowbar in a butthole, you just got a crowbar in a butthole. You don't have a rat hole to go in. I'm not a doctor. I said this earlier, but I think that's true. So I don't think Michael Proctor did well in biology or anatomy. Number D here. Yeah, I said number D. Get over it. That will turn into me jacking off on her as she sleeps. That's the second time. That's the second time this guy is ejaculating on someone who is sleeping. Which I guess now that I think about it, people who are awake are more likely to not want to be ejaculated on than someone who's asleep. I think. Let's see. Referring to his then girlfriend's anus. We read this one earlier, but we don't shy away here. I can't even get fucking near that thing. I make every effort possible. I wait till she's asleep and I try to get at it. I try every effort possible. I try to get her hammered. I can't get anywhere near it. It's starting to piss me off. Can you imagine? What does she have? Like a magical barrier? He's going for it. He's going for it at night. He's like, oh, here comes the tickle monster. Bloop, 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 bloop. And then it's like, what does he run into? Like, is there what is stopping him? I mean, hopefully something. Like, believe me, I don't want this fine young lady molested in her sleep with butthole play or anything like that. I'm just wondering. Like, it seems like it takes a lot to stop a Michael Proctor who's dead set on an anus. That's all. Guy, can you imagine he's a black pastor? Like, I can't even get fucking near that thing. I make every effort possible. I wait till she's asleep. And I try to get at it. I try every effort possible. I try to get her hammered. I can't get anywhere near it. It's starting to piss me off. We should make a sermon out of Michael Proctor quotes, I think. Thick pigs. Michael Proctor. I'm not offended by thick pigs. I think only thick pigs are. Discussing specific sexual acts and the need to potentially, quote, get at it while she's asleep. Michael Proctor, he's got a sleep thing. He's got a sleep thing. Quote, this is I here. Ain't gonna happen. She will pass out at 9 and I'll stay up till midnight drinking and watching movies. I could swoop in for the kill when she's asleep though. Oh, he can't. He's like, nope, no ass for me. And this is just a general ass, by the way. I don't think in this one, when I say no ass for him, I'm not talking about anal sexual intercourse. I'm talking about just booty in general. He's like, wait till the Michael, the sleep sneaker Proctor, coming in with the weekend worm. Oh my God. Let's see. We got, so discussing needing a roofie or something to find a sexual partner. I skipped that one. Pigs I have stuffed. I feel like that should be on one of those inspirational cards, like a picture of him like on top of a mountain with his arms up, like, and it just says pigs I have stuffed. Whew. Michael Proctor in letter number K says, part of like jacking off is to do it on an absolute pig, not some Brazilian smoke show top 12 model. You want a filthy pig that you just do dirty things to. Give me some thick girls with some meat who you can just shit on. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He's like, look, you don't want to jerk off on a hottie. Like, yeah, you don't want to waste that stuff on a hot chick. You want to dump that all over a fucking swine. Like, what is happening? Whew. I've never seen someone who's like, no, she's too good for my cum. Like, I've never seen a man be like, no way, that chick is way too hot. Why? Why is he like this? The Dragonfly says, isn't Proctor married? I don't know. These texts these texts go back to 2013. So it might be, I shouldn't say obvious, but I think it's before he was married. Jillian Chaban says, hope your pain improves. I'm on disability for a neck injury. Been trying to work because I'm so bored, but it hurts. Have a gagged, huge legal case and can't talk to anyone. Oh, that sucks. It is frustrating. And like a lot of people checked in. They checked in on me and it was like, hey, how's everybody? Like, how's everything going? And I hate like having to say back, hey, just until everything's sorted out, I'm not really talking about things too much. Like you want to just tell people what's going on, or I do. I like to tell people what's going on and keep people informed on things. But I have had to frustratingly say, I'm sorry. Like I'll tell you later when things are all worked out. Okay, so L says referring to an overweight woman as a disgrace. Oh, come on. Like, damn it. Some of it's funny. Absolute pig, Michael Proctor, and a cunt, Michael Proctor. During the same time frame. Oh, speaking of a disgrace, an absolute pig, and a cunt. Not actually, though. Not actually. My man Cecil Says has rated the stream over on Rumble. Is that you guys from the Jack Show? Has the Jack Show arrived? I love you all. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome. Welcome. Guys, you have come in at a very, very interesting time, which is what every woman says too. You've come in at a very interesting time. We are reading the racist and misogynistic, allegedly racist and misogynistic text messages of Michael Proctor, the lead detective in the Karen Reed case. Jack Show, welcome home. Welcome home. This is where you want to be right now because we are reading them word for word. There is no censorship here. During the same time, so we're on paragraph 36, Proctor also prolifically messaged his friends about his similar hatred of Black, Asian, Hispanic, Arab, and Jewish people. After observing a multi-car accident and initially informing Good in case he was on duty, Proctor followed up, actually, take your time. I saw a nigger was involved, so I wouldn't rush if you're working. Let them die. Which is potentially offensive. Potentially. I think we might need the context. Paragraph B. Literally hate 99% of the people I meet, see, and deal with. Dudes went into Canton High this morning to get a transcript and saw more niggas in 10 minutes than the 4 years I spent there combined. Everywhere I looked, there was monkeys running around. I think it's were. I think it's were. I am an English major, but I think it's were monkeys. Wanted to ask the woman in the guidance office Where were all the white kids? Where the fuck did all these nigglets come from? Quoting Michael Proctor. They added the emphasis. He didn't bold, italicize, and underline his text messages. That was added for the purposes of the lawsuit. Just so we know. Let's see. Paragraph C, discussing a college football game. You notice that nigga's headband from A&M. Oh, don't you be hating on the Aggies, motherfucker. Said something like hashtag cash me out. Would have been nice if they were still our slaves. What? You know, it would have been nice. Would be nice if these football players were still our slaves. Why? Why does he need that? Like, that's what I want the context of that one. It's like, I fucking would be nice. What is this wearing a headband that says cash me out, which I assume is cash me outside. How about that? Right? Like, would have been nice if they were still our slaves. Then I wouldn't have to go pick up Bertucci's. Quote, hey nigger, go fetch Bear his wings and pizza. End quote, Michael Proctor. So you just have Uber Eats and DoorDash. Oh, they might not have been around yet. I don't know what year this was. Somebody get on that. Find the A&M guy who's wearing the cash me outside headband and what year this game must have been. I don't know who they're playing. Holy shit. Quote, Jesus, that place was a dump. Smelled like niggas and cigarettes. It's nice of him to use the soft A on occasion. Like, because if you're just throwing hard R's around and you don't mix it up and save the hard R's for when it really matters. I mean, are you even a proper racist? I mean, or should I say, are you even a proper racist? What, are we Canadian? Another plane was brought back into the gate because of two sand niggers speaking Arabic, and people on the plane were freaked out and had them kicked off. Again, a quote from Michael Proctor. Every racial slur I use in this stream is going to be a quote from Michael Proctor. Again, to the YouTube gods and the Rumble gods of worrying about this. I would never, ever say any of these things. They're just not funny enough. But yeah, this is not me talking. Certainly, I'm not targeting anybody. This is a newsworthy document that is in one of the biggest lawsuits being watched in the country right now. Quote, if an American pulled some terrorist act in a Middle Eastern country, they would have their heads chopped off in the middle of the closest major city for all the citizens to see and cheer on. Instead, this person will get lethal injection in a secluded federal prison and be viewed as a hero to all the sand niggers around the world. That's really a big fan of that one. He likes that expression. Speaking of people whose expressions I like, Good Logic has rated this stream. I forget it's Thursday, brother. I thought it was Friday in my headcanon because I have court all day tomorrow, which sounds counterintuitive, but like my normal day isn't happening. So because I have court all day tomorrow, I'm thinking for my brain, it's like Friday already. But it's good to see you. Welcome to Joe. Good Logic's viewers on Rumble and YouTube. If you're here, you are hearing racism and very offensive language. So I don't want to hear any pussies in chat whining about it. We are going through the texts of Michael Proctor and Sean Good. I think Sean, Michael Good and Proctor and Good, whatever the fuck his name is. And we're reading these text messages in this lawsuit. Speaking of reading these text messages in this lawsuit, actually, it has nothing to do with it at all, but we are going to say thank you to Shelly C. gifting 5 memberships. 5 Ricada Law memberships gifted by Shelly C. Very much appreciated, Shelly. Thank you so much. If you happen to get a Shelly C. gifted membership, please make sure you say thank you and go ahead and it's the least you could do, really, is just give her a little thanks. Why is this window is just cooked? What's going on here? Oh, there we go. Real Patriot Party, quote, white ass niggers man, brought to you by Eric the Dumbass. But see, that's not from the document. That's not from the document. What do we have here? We have, sorry, I'm trying to update the members and my window froze up. There we go. We're up to 15 members. 15 members here on the show. Very much appreciated to everybody who joins up. Of course, absolute Chads and Chadettes. DX Mania gifting 10 memberships. That brings us to 25. Oh, holy shit. Holy shit. Suddenly we've got a little bit of a different scenario going. Now we're at 25. Where did my... Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find my stream. There it is. There it is. Let me update this. We've got 25 members on YouTube. Thank you so much. It is really appreciated. I would be a little bit more emphatic and enthusiastic, but if you're just joining and you don't know, I was in a car accident a couple days ago. So my responses are a little muted. That my heart is not muted. My emotions are still there. I just can't emote them as well. Nicola Maxwell says, if your skin is thin, now go hit like though. That was poetic. I love it. Thank you very much. And there's the DX Mania gifting 10 memberships. What a hero. What a hero. All right. Back to, ow. Back to this. So here we go. Paragraph G. Word up, dudes. Word up, dudes. Been just crushing business shit today. What a fucking dork. Word up, bros. Just crushing business shit today. Had a couple of protein shakes. Actually, not really. Just been dipping and trying to make sense of what the gook next to me is saying. Why? Where is he? I want context on this stuff. I want context on this stuff. Word up, dudes. Just sitting around crushing. Oh my God. Deport their asses. I don't care if they are here legally or what their excuse was. Fucking deport those sand niggers. Again, he's very fond of that. The NBA is god awful and is a fucking joke. These super teams and the refs are ruining the league. Plus, it's all niggas. So Michael Proctor is one of the few people on earth out there advocating for lower performing teams. He's like, you know what I want in my NBA? You know what I want in my NBA? I want them to be less good at basketball. I don't want such high scores. That's gay. What? What is he talking about? He's like, these super teams, like, they're just ruining the whole sport. Yeah, I mean, who would want to see the best players, together? That sucks. He must watch the WNBA. All I have to say about Hernandez is stupid spick, quoting Michael Proctor. Again, this is nice that he brought the tacos in. Again, I don't want his racism limited. That feels racist to me. Like, what if he just picked on one race? That would be horrible. Michael Proctor says, this is how fucking stupid she is. We got a new intern. Kid is a complete lemon dick who has been there 1 week. She drags him into her office and asks him for advice on how to bring the group closer together. There are 4 people who the rest of us hate, and it's obvious. 3 out of 4 are Asian. Surprise, surprise. Or should I say, surprise, surprise. Fuck. Ah! Wouldn't mind being a nigga for the day. Oh, see, look at that. How can you say he hates black people? How can you say he hates black people? Wouldn't mind being a nigga for the day. Just pop open a fire hydrant and suck down a few 40s while listening to some Naughty by Nature. That sounds like an excellent day. That sounds so fucking great. We just got some 40s, pop open a fire hydrant. We got a street party going, some Naughty by Nature. God damn it. Nigger cops. That's Michael Proctor. Michael Proctor says, too many Jews in Sharon. Wait. Damn it. It's not just too many Jews, it's too many Jews in Sharon. Shit. Oh. People are asking who's Sharon? Germany, apparently, from what I understand. America sucks. Hitler was really onto something. Then the fucking U.S. had to step in and ruin it. Quoting Michael Proctor. Paragraph P, discussing a pornographic movie called Blackjack City. Okay. Oh my God. Blackjack City, and was nothing but fat niggers getting pounded out with huge runny flapjack tits. Which sounds like a bad breakfast at IHOP, really. Like, what? Gross. Detroit should be destroyed along with places like Flint, Michigan. They are breeding grounds for niggers to run wild. I want to say I don't get offended by words, but I can understand why some people would be offended with some of this. Like, it is, this is some top shelf bigotry. It's hard to find, right? Like, it's almost like you need Indiana Jones these days to find the bigotry. And it turns out the artifacts he was looking for was the bigotry he encountered along the way. Let's see. Obviously, I can't watch a black dude fuck a white chick. Excuse me. Obviously, I can't do that. Which I'm not sure why he can't. What's up, Jim tells you? How you doing, brother? How are you? Obviously, I can't watch a black dude fuck a white chick. I don't know if he's incapable or unwilling. I bet this guy would pay to watch a black guy fuck a white chick. Not only do I think he's lying here, not only do I think that he can actually do it, that he could accomplish it, I think that he would pay to watch it in person. Like, I think he would pay for it. Randolph is filled with niggers, no good niggers. Then he says sand nigger. Then he says gook. They're not giving me anything here. He says nigger movie. I wouldn't rush. I heard a nigger was involved. We could use them niggers as dartboards. Oh, that's a new use right there. That's a new one I haven't heard yet. So that one, I guess, is his. I guess that's his. I think I'm gonna have to turn. I think I'm gonna have to turn ads off on this stream if I had to guess. Tay Logan says, "Great hair, buddy." I've gotten a lot of compliments on my hair, which is, it's like always the best when you do absolutely nothing, and people are like, "Oh man, that looks great today," and you're like, "God damn it!" Like all the other times when you tried hard and it wasn't good, and then it's like you just kind of roll out of bed and go like, just run your hand through your hair. And it's like, all right, that's all it's going to do because I don't feel good. Everybody's like, this looks great. You did way better than normal. Real Patriot Party says, hey, we take care of our own nigger population control in Detroit. No kibitzing Proctor. God, Real Patriot Party, I think you're taking advantage here. You're taking advantage of my willingness to read these things. Okay, so we do have Nigger Lover. He also says, it should be Punchin' Nigger Day in Canton today out of retribution. Any shine you see, blast it in the face. So shine is a derogatory derogatory slang term about a black person. So I want to be, some people may not have understood from context what that was. So I want to put that out there. If you see anybody in there calling someone a shine, they might be racist. Sledge-O-Matic says, I kind of miss the bingers. Look, when you're getting tired of N-words, there's a lot of them, right? Like if you're getting tired of it, there's a lot. Whoa, that's got to be an Asian slang. We're getting there. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. Whoa, I wasn't ready for that at all. Paragraph AA recommending a movie theater because there are no niggers. Michael Proctor. These are quotes again. BB discussing his first arrest and saying it was a fucking immigrant who is going back to Guatemala. Fucking immigrant. That one, I don't know if that's that offensive. It was a fucking immigrant going back to. He says all gooks have shrubs between their legs, and I don't know. We have had time now between the first and second time we've heard about gook shrubbery. Can someone go ahead and verify this? We're gonna censor it because it's been a bit much. Do all Asians have shrubs between their legs? I've never seen one. Michael Proctor says noodle nigger. That's good. Come on. I don't. I'm not aware. That sounds like a derogatory Asian one to me. That sounds like it's an Asian thing. I'm not trying to assume or put anything on anybody. I just think that is. He says, I haven't shot anyone, but I did pull a nigger over today for tossing a cigarette out the window. He says, asshole niggas ruin the NBA. Eat a dick, Ghana. Let's enslave those niggers. My car needs a cleaning. I'm not sure if are Ghanans particularly good at cleaning cars. That doesn't seem like that would be deeply rooted in Ghanan culture. I don't know about that. Again, I'm not an Africanologist. I'm just trying to make the logical connection. I would rather deal with the retards at Starbucks than the retard Brazilians at Dunks, which I'm assuming is Dunkin' Donuts because he's a cop and he's stupid, and Dunks would have a K instead of a C. But maybe Dunks is a specific thing. Maybe there's like just a Dunks somewhere. But let's talk about this for a second. Just earlier, he was praising Brazilian queens as being far too pretty to be marred by his semen. Now he doesn't like Brazilians? I don't buy this for a minute. Let's see. He asks for everyone's favorite race to bang. Middle Eastern would be asinine. Oh. Okay. We got to have it in chat. What is everyone's favorite race to bang if you're willing to share? I know this is private information, but everyone's favorite race to bang. Feel free to share that in the chat. Just in case people need to know that information. for like, I don't know, your obituary or whatever. Don't worry. When you do die, we'll go back and look it up that you put it down. But if you say Middle Eastern, apparently would be asinine. Michael Proctor says sand nigger. He is not a fan of the Middle Easterns. Discussing Jewish people from Sharon and stating, oh, wait a minute, Sharon's a town? Oh. I thought Sharon was a woman with too many Jews in her. Turns out it's like a whole city. Oh my God, I was way off. Holy shit. Discussing Jewish people from Sharon and stating we really should keep them in a concentration camp. Crystal DeSaro says, yep, next to Canton. This is the kind of information I need. Like, I need a producer in my ear being like, yeah, by the way, Sharon's not a chick loaded up with Jew wieners. At least they'd all be circumcised, but it's actually a town full of circumcised people. Like, oh my God, not a foreskin in sight. Whew. Let's see. This is actually, this next text is so far, in my opinion, the funniest thing he has said. Is so far, in my opinion, I find nothing offensive about this text at all. I think this is a hilarious text to me. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm willing to call a spade, just like Proctor is. And this is fucking like, this is actually funny. Here we go. Quote, I went to this cobbler to have my asshole stretched so I could fit Black Hog in it. And he asked if they do boots too. I went to the cobbler to have this asshole stretched. Do you also do boots? Oh, God. That one's just funny. I swear that dude's gay as shit. He is gay out of his mind. How could he possibly? I hope they send some anti-LGBT ones. And then finally, he closes out a little bit on it. After the banger that was LL, MM is kind of just chink-eyed, which is a little bit. That's not the funniest one. I think he really phoned that one in. Oh boy. In addition to these horrific statements, indicating the extent to which he believed those with backgrounds and characteristics similar to him, white male, were superior to others, women and non-whites, Proctor also wasn't shy about his other proclivities that made him patently unfit for service, including that more than once, Proctor discussed planting coke on people and shoving a nightstick up someone's ass. And there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Rekieta is innocent of all charges. It wasn't even my cocaine. It was Michael Proctor's. What a prick. I can't believe he did this to me. Proctor recognized his inadequacy in 2017, writing that he had, quote, no idea how he passed the background, although he did explain that MSP detective units do the background checks for applicants. They allowed a girl into the next academy who admitted to using cocaine and ecstasy and recently used those drugs. Hell yeah, you got to have a party chick on the squad. What didn't Don't they remember that one girl who had the like the orgy going? You gotta have a party chick who's doing coke. Like, I need coke and ecstasy last week. Hire her right away. You don't even need the rest of your background check at that point. You know that she's gonna go well. Messages sent by good. So now we're on good. Sorry. I was getting a little loud. Gookland sounds like a good movie. Hold on. I was just refreshing a window. That's not my fault. I did read that ahead. That wasn't my own. So Proctor, someone said, who is good? No one is good but God. Aquatic Nomad. No one is good but the Lord. That said, this is Sean Good. Sean Good works for Canton Police Department, whereas Proctor is Maryland Police Department, or Massachusetts Police Department. Sean Good is the Canton Police Department. So it's two different departments. He needs two different officers to tie in the behaviors for the negligent supervision claim against each department, like against each department, right? So he can't tie Canton PD's liability to Proctor's text messages because Proctor is not Canton PD. And they don't have any supervising authority over him. They don't have any training authority over him or anything like that. So they have to have Good, who's a friend of Proctor, who's responding in kind with the same vernacular. So it's really easy to bring him or to bring them into it on their own. But that's why they have Sean Good here. So Canton Police Department, CPD, Sergeant Good was no more discreet about his own bias and deranged views. Like Proctor and Wallace CPD officer, Good regularly referred to and discussed women in venomous ways. They text in venomous ways. It's all right. Cunt, fat cunt, a real cunt, fucking cunt, the biggest cunt, slut, little cunt. Sorry. Those are all those cunts came from Sean Good. Those aren't from me. I would never do that. Let's see. Wait, she's sending you nudes? Send them. If Lisa would let me see her cans and actually take a photo of them, I would send them. We're family here. Look, if my girl would take pictures of her tits and send them to me, I would pass them on to you guys in a heartbeat. We're bros. How are we going to circle jerk without them? Let's see. Shelly C says, I'm getting a lot of education tonight. Watch out, Shelly C. Rumor has it, if Proctor's around after you fall asleep, you're going to get some education all over you. I can't take it. I can't take it. He also displayed that this is a crime. Just so everybody knows, like if someone sends you nudes and then you're like, hey bros, check them out. That's a criminal act. Don't do it. Well, I guess not in every state necessarily. It's almost always a civil liability issue, but in many states and now federally, actually, I think now, thanks to Melania Trump mostly, and her push towards a federal revenge pornography standard, pretty much anything that you share by text message or post online, anything like that is considered a message in interstate commerce using the airwaves of the cellular networks, etc. And you're gonna get fucked. I wouldn't do it. It is not appropriate to. Some people out there are like, no, it's just fine. Like I just shared all these nudes with my friends. Like That's never actually been an appropriate thing to do. I don't know if people know that, but that never has been appropriate. I know people do it. All right. He also displayed the same racial and religious supremacist viewpoints as Proctor. Which, like his misogyny, impacted how he viewed the members of the public he encountered on a regular basis as a police officer. Among others, Good sent these messages while he was a CPD officer. There's nothing funny about racism or bigotry. Okay, here we go. Referring to Robert Kraft as a terrible cunty Jew, nigger, can't deal with the gooks. Gookland, Jews controlled the election, ? He's not even sure. This man's just out here asking questions. He's just out here asking the same questions we all have. Why is Dominion an anagram for damn Jews? I don't know. I said anagram. I meant anagram. It's a very erudite joke, and I fucked it up. She's a Jew, so she deaf puts out. We saw this one earlier. That was educational. I did not know that Jew women are known for putting out, so that's cool. That's good. The Jew chick, stupid, ugly gook, Jew fucker. Again, I don't see that one as negative, honestly. Everybody needs love. Eat a black dick, eat an Asian dick. One of those meals is more filling than the other, I think. Alogatog sent some smiley, laughy faces. Thank you, Alogatog. Chink, very Jewy. Gook, chink tard. Noisy little Jew dweeb. I like that one. He must have been talking about Gabe Hoffman. Is that a Jew or a black? You know what? Get your vision checked. What are we talking about here? I need the context to that one. How'd you get this one very confused? Confused like their sexual orientations, I think. Sean Good says, never understood whiny Jew humor. And really, who does? Jew sympathizers. Anne Frank's a lying cunt. I don't know. I feel like her opinions are a little stale. Maybe, I don't know. You probably shouldn't dust them off, though. Kikes, says Sean Good. And now how are the blacks down there? Very blacky. Again, this is just curiosity, I think. He's getting a bad rap on some of this stuff. Oh, ouch. Okay. We're going to have to, you guys are on page 17, 70 to go. There's 70 pages left to go in this, but I think we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon here. Pretty soon. Nicola Maxwell's like, go to bed, fuck's sake. Soon. Very soon. Alice McGee says these are actual texts. These are text messages from Michael Proctor and Sean Good. I would never say anything like this on my own. I'm definitely reading these off of the lawsuit. Rumor has it there's thousands of these. Thousands of these. Oh, Crystal DeSaro says there's exhibits, so it's not really 87 pages. Oh, perfect. So the exhibits are probably just, they're the actual pictures of the text messages, I'm guessing. So we'll go, we'll read a little more. We'll read a little more. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I was just warning you guys up front. Nicola, it's okay. It's going to be in my lungs one way or the other for now. I can't leave yet. The next line. So I'm sorry, I can't remember how long it really is. Look, that's a common problem. That's a common issue. Don't worry, you're in good company. All right. Paragraph 42. Good also shared similar disdain for homosexual members of the community in Canton and elsewhere, referring to them repeatedly as fags, homos, and cocksuckers. Okay, I've got a question for you guys, and I don't mean to get serious. And sometimes, sincerity is warranted. This is one of those times where we really need to get serious on this. And is cocksuckers really, is that really have anything to do with homosexuality? I mean, I know it used to. I don't like cocksuckers as an insult. I don't like it. I'm saying it. I try not to use it anymore. I think it's out of fashion for me anyway. Not for any reason that you're thinking, but I think we need to destigmatize oral sex in general. Not to the point some people do. I'm not, no bro jobs or anything like that. I just, I don't understand why we would want to cast aspersions on a pretty ubiquitously desirable sexual act, right? I think everybody with a wiener likes having it sucked. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I'm not down with the new ways of the next generation or whatever, but last I checked, everyone I know with a penis likes having a mouth on it. So I don't understand why cocksuckers would be a derogatory. I've just fallen out of favor at this point in time. And it's especially weird when a heterosexual guy is talking to a chick and he's like, "You dumb cocksucking whore." I'm like, wait a minute, calm down, hold up. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Sir, we need to have a discussion. We need to have a discussion about this. So anyway, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is I think it's overused. I think it's inappropriately used. I think it's ill thought out insult, and I think we need to change things around here. They're all into butt stuff now. Wait, who's they? Who's it? Michael Proctor wants to know. You marry that cock. One of the great lines in Kill Bill Volume 1, right? When the bride's laying there at the beginning or in the wedding chapel, or the sheriff says, "Son number one, this tall drink of cocksucker ain't dead." What a great line. All right. Back to the fags and homos and stuff. Like Proctor, Good exhibited more in these messages than just his bias and hate. He also showed that he lacks the basic discretion and neutrality required of a police officer, deputized to protect and serve all members of the community, regardless of skin color and ethnicity, gender, religious beliefs, and or sexual orientation. We need to elevate harangued. I like harangued. That's good. Harangued is a good word. Espresso D says, does that extend to sniz liquor? Yes. I'm equal on genders here. I cannot believe that we let Andrew Wilson get away with this. This is, no matter what you think of him, neutral, positive, negative, I don't care. The fact that we let this man besmirch the good name of sniz liquors everywhere I'm fucking furious about that. He's out here, I don't need to listen to you. You like sniz. I'm like, what are you implying, good sir? What are you implying, good sir? Because it sounds like you want me to listen to you. And if I follow that logic chain, that means that you're not a sniz licker. And I'm very confused. Like now would you like to know more? Bloop. All right, we're gonna What? We're going to keep going back to this well of text messages up here. As just one example, in 2022, as an 18-year veteran of the Canton Police Department, Good shared his views in writing on Sandra Birchmore. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. This is not good. This is not going to be good at all. See, you know that song, like, In the Middle of the Night by Billy Joel, like, in the middle of the night. See, now I'm sitting here like, I've been looking on the sniz. I got to stop. Like, it's running through my head. I got to stop doing this. I've talked to my therapist about this. I'm like, I just can't get sniz licking songs out of my head. She listens intently every time. That's a joke. That's not true. I didn't actually do that. I might now. Okay, so he shared his views in writing on Sandra Birchmore, a young woman who tragically died the year before in Canton, and whose death was initially ruled a suicide until federal authorities discovered that multiple officers from neighboring town Stoughton's police department had been sexually abusing Ms. Birchmore when she was a minor. Nail their testicles to a table and smash them with a comedic sledgehammer. Hire Gallagher to do it. Hire Gallagher to do it. After federal authorities investigated, they charged a former Stoughton police officer with her murder. And her death is now classified as a homicide at the federal level. The Norfolk County District Attorney's Office early this year changed her death from suicide to undetermined. Against this backdrop, Good told his friends that chick was borderline retarded. See, now we've moved away, like some of the other stuff is about public officials and very tangential. And, you know, it's general stuff. It's easy to laugh at. This is not laugh worthy. This is fucking awful. These cops sexually abused a minor to the point where they caused her death. All of them should be executed. Not ironically, not in Minecraft. They should be tried and executed for their crimes. Everyone involved. Every cop who had a text message with her should be on a cross. Good also helped his friends avoid repercussions for what appears to have been their regular practices of driving drunk. Sobriety checkpoint on 138 by the trail side tonight. Please stay away tonight. Can't help you if you get caught. Too many troopers in Milton PD. Keep this info between us. Tattoos 9419 says she was pregnant. Oh, I know. We'll probably be looking a little bit more into Sandra Birchmore as these other things develop. He apparently relished his ability to use his institutional power, authority, and access to illegally obtain information about women he encountered in his daily life. Writing in 2015, can't wait to look this cunt up tonight at work. MSP and CPD knew or should have known about Proctor and Good's bigotry. Of course they should have. Let's see how many more pages we have till exhibits. We go to 30 pages. We're on 19. I don't think I'm going to be able to do 10 more pages of this tonight. Let's read this last one. We'll get started on the new or should have known, and then we'll probably call it a night. So if you're looking to get any memberships, gift any memberships, or say any super chats or super tips, now is the time to do that as I get through this last page, and then we're going to wrap up. All of the contributions to the show, of course, have been very much appreciated tonight. And we always am very thankful. I said we am, but I meant I am always very thankful to you guys. I don't like the depersonalization there. I'm very thankful to you guys for everything you send in. Much appreciated. MSP and CPD knew or should have known about Proctor and Good's bigotry. We will resume this, by the way. I just need to get some rest. Proctor and Good's biases, bigotry, and personal histories were known or should have been known to MSP and CPD when they were hired, trained, promoted, and supervised them. Not only were the MSP and CPD on notice of Proctor and Good's troubling views and intolerant attitude towards various members of the community they were sworn to protect and serve during the underlying investigation into Mr. O'Keefe's death, but Proctor's supervisors knew Proctor had a close relationship with the Alberts, and that Proctor made no secret of his biases against Ms. Reed, demonstrating a clear prejudice against her from the outset. Remember, pin it on the girl. For its part, CPD refuses to acknowledge its role in this debacle of an investigation or recognizes significant flaws in its hiring, training, and supervising practices, illustrated by Good's continued role as a sergeant for the CPD until 2 days ago, when upon information believed, CPD was informed by MSP's counsel that this complaint would soon be filed. And of course, this complaint and the allegations within, it doesn't matter if they win or lose the case. This is devastating to the Canton PD, devastating to the Massachusetts police, devastating to anybody who gets named in it. Let's see. Helpful right to the end. CPD then permitted Good to resign 2 days before the filing of this complaint rather than firing him, and thus saving him from the reputational and financial implications of being terminated for cause. And by the way, that was a bad move by Canton PD. That right there is what we call a mistake. Because when presented with obviously terminable material, he's permitted to resign ahead of time, which means they are endorsing the behavior. Now, they may have some way to go back and like eliminate a pension or whatever based on his obviously inept conduct. But who knows? But the Canton PD allowed him to do this, allowed this to happen, and it just goes towards the negligent supervision and negligent training, rather than they had an opportunity here to take a step to rectify part of the problem and simply say, we were not meaningfully informed of this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They could have done something. They could have fired him. They could have terminated him, terminated his contract, whatever it was. They could have said, we don't stand by these things, but they didn't do that. And then sure, they'd have to fight the police union on it, but let the police union fight for this guy. Let them do that. Show that Canton doesn't tolerate this type of behavior and maybe mitigate some of the damages from the lawsuit. But by permitting him to resign, kind of looks like an endorsement of his behavior rather than a correction. So we've got, as for the Massachusetts State Police, both before and during the Proctor-led investigation, his immediate supervisor, Buchanan, affectionately referred to as Bukaki, provided his annual employment reviews, True to form, despite knowing firsthand the extent of Proctor's unlawful conduct, bias, and bigotry, Buchanan repeatedly and falsely wrote that Proctor has handled himself onto his girlfriend while she sleeps. No, has handled himself with the utmost professionalism and with strict integrity, and confirmed that they had successfully discussed MSP's policies concerning anti-harassment, sexual harassment, and discrimination and diversity, amongst others. So they're going to make the claim. They're going to make the claim that that they did. We did cover these things. We actually did talk about those. And this is the danger of the lawsuit. Ultimately, is you are allowed your free speech. You are allowed your opinions. You are allowed these things. How much do speech issues and the way people think, how much does that permeate into the duties of a supervisor, of an employer? How much does it permeate into the duties of a police officer? I mean, it's really easy to say that cops shouldn't be racist or cops shouldn't be sexist. Those are simple concepts to say. What does that mean, though? Now, do we condition a police officer's job based on their mind and their words, or do we base it on their performance record? But that may not be great. There may be a disproportionate effect that they have on, for arrests and things like that. We'll have to see how the lawsuit brings it in. We'll have to see what they do. But this is, the other question is, were these text messages sent while they were on duty? Were they sent while they're off duty? Are they on a police issued phone? Are they, is there an on duty, off duty with police? It's one of those jobs where you might get called in or called to help, similar to a doctor or something where, you may be required to drop what you're doing and go to work. You may be on duty in a moment's notice if something is going wrong and you're available to help. So the question is, where is all this stuff taking place? Are these on separately maintained personal cell phones? That makes things different, right? Are they only text messages that occur in off hours? I doubt it. I doubt it. But what does that do? The freedom of speech and the freedom of thought have to exist in some capacity. But when do those conflict with the duty to serve your community without discrimination and bias? When do those conflict with your requirement of it, of enforcing the law and bringing justice? Hold on. And bringing justice without bias. Again, the whole biasing is pretty damn important. So, what is going on? All right, hold on one second. Sorry. The whole biasing is really important. So, because it impacts, again, how the law is enforced. And the law is to be a neutral arbiter, a neutral distributor of justice, and a neutral protector and enforcer of rights. Sorry, my daughter is looking for some stuff. With that, guys, I'm going to go help her. I'm going to go help her so she can go to bed, so I can go to bed as well. But thanks for hanging out with me tonight. We will go ahead and finish up this document very soon, maybe even tomorrow. It kind of depends on how things go and how I'm feeling. Some of you may or may not know I have a hearing in the morning and for a bogus restraining order taken out against me almost a year ago. I'm finally getting to have my say in court. It's been a really long time. So, there's promises of big drama and there's promises of like something unexpected coming tomorrow. I have an idea what that is, and if that's the plan, okay, all right. If you're going to try like procedural faggotry, then that's what you're going to do, I guess. But anything like that will be resisted to the maximum. It's time to finish this up. So that being said, as soon as I'm able to, I'll give you more details on all of this stuff. But in the meanwhile, thanks for everything, for the support. Thanks for all the memberships and donations, and I will catch you next time. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig, the spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now.